Well, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Fly Data Sim live stream. Today is the 28th of January 2021, 3 minutes past 8 in the evening here in the UK. We're back in the United States of America in Microsoft Flight Simulator, taking out the excellent CJ4 working title citation mod. In fact, we're in the absolute brand spanking new latest version 0.10.1, which only just came out less than 15 minutes ago. They found a bit of a major issue with VNav or something to do with that. It's a bit strange because I tested the sector earlier, didn't have any issues, but then again I did fly a visual approach, so didn't use VNav all the way to the runway. But hopefully no pressing issues today. Do remember the aircraft we're flying is in beta, but it's certainly worthwhile checking out. Completely free to download, of course, and install. Where are we then? Yes, we are in Kansas City. The airport is called Wheeler Downtown. Bizarrely, I thought we were in the state of Kansas, but I've just found out that the river actually divides the state of Kansas and Missouri. So actually the state of Missouri here. This is the state of Kansas. So welcome to Missouri, everyone. Today we'll be flying for an hour and 45 minutes westbound, going to an airport that's been requested an awful lot, and that's Aspen. A very challenging approach. We're going to plan to fly the Roaring Fork visual approach today. We'll have a look at both options available. The localizer only approach as well. I'd be very excited to finally come here, and of course in Microsoft Flight Simulator, all that lovely series to look forward to. Anthony says there is Kansas City, Missouri and Kansas City, Kansas. I'm very sorry, Anthony, that's my lack of US knowledge going in there. Oops, I'm going to have a lot of corrections, I fear, today from my US friends. Commander Jenna Hoford says, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore, Toto. Thank you. Oh dear, I might have embarrassed myself here. Listener says, hello boss, I'll behave today, possibly. Yes, I only remember to have been timed out recently. That was only a bit of banter though. I'm only kidding, thank you very much. We got Slick Burrito 414. What controls do you use? If you look at the video description below, you'll find all my peripherals are listed there. Did you say they dropped a hotfix? I did, Ian Launch. Thank you very much though for everyone that did message me saying there's a hotfix out. I've got loads of messages and tweet messages and Instagram messages. Make sure you download the hotfix, so thanks a lot for that, guys. Bjorn says this looks like a promising plane in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Yeah, it's absolutely, well, it's my favourite plugin at the moment. Obviously there's the 320 mod, which I think is very popular as well, but this is no Airbus, so I'm very happy. Perfect. Well, there we are. Here's our Learjet, completely cold and dark. I've not touched anything apart from loading into the sim. I've noticed at Microsoft Flight Simulator at the moment, there's a few little bugs and things, so you can see the roads looking a little iffy, as is the bridge going into Kansas. Yes, it would seem we have a poster of cars on there, and unfortunately, whilst on the approach into Aspen, I noticed there's a lot of stalagmites appearing in Microsoft Flight Simulator as well. I'm pretty sure they're not there in real life, but apart from that, the sim does seem to be running rather smoothly. Live weather, live time, I think the local time here is 6 minutes past 2 in the afternoon. Very chilly here this afternoon in Kansas, but there she is, beautiful looking mod. And yeah, I'll do my absolute best to try and replicate real-world procedures. We have a few of the devs, I think, watching. They did mention as well, so I'll try not to embarrass myself too much. Remember, I have no experience flying this aircraft in real life whatsoever. Right, so without further ado, let's jump into the cockpit here. And I actually have in front of me the updated working title operations guide, so I will be flashing this up. Now do remind me in chat if I forget that I have either the PDF or Navigraph up, because unlike Explain where I use Avitab and I can see the window, I can't see it unless I'm looking at the streaming software. Anyway, here is the here's Navigraph, so we've got the charts here. We'll be taking a look at that. And how do I bring up the PDF? There we are. So yeah, I'll be following this throughout the setup. It's a nice manual. Guys, go check out the Working Title Discord. They've got all the devs there. They're very approachable. Loads of information available. You've got CJ4 pilots as well. This was listed in one of the channels, and I just grabbed it here. It tells you, it's like a very quick SOP guide on how to set this aircraft. So I'll be following this in the background, making sure I'm doing everything as realistic as possible. I'm just going to scroll down a little bit here. So it talks about how to install it, how to sync it to SimBrief, but I like to do it all manually. There's our Kansas ground crew, making sure that everything around the aircraft's okay. I am actually on VATSIM at the moment, but there seems to be no other traffic online, but obviously early afternoon in the US, so it'll be a lot later until a lot of traffic appears in the United States. Right, so It says follow the normal checklist basically for the startup in this aircraft. So what I'm going to do is pop the battery on. Just going to turn the music down here a little bit as well. Although it's very smooth, very soothing at least. So there's the battery on. We'll put this switch to dispatch. There we are. Now we need to get some ground power connected so the battery doesn't discharge. So I believe that's under... it'll be ages until I find everything again. I think it's page 2 of index. Mod set. Ground power is connected. So you can see, look, when you disconnect the ground power, you get a battery amp, show the battery's discharging, but then turn it on and that disappears. What's your on-screen display called, Scarlett? Ah, you're meaning my lovely new overlay, which I started using a couple of weeks ago. It's from Flight Life. It's really nice, and I was having a few issues with some of the other overlays here, and this has been recently updated, and yeah, just provides some basic flight information for you guys to see whilst I'm streaming. Where is Kilo Mike? Kilo Charlie? Kansas City. In the state of Kansas / Missouri. Well, there's 2 Kansas cities, but you'll see on a map if you type that in where we are. Right, we've got some power connected to the aircraft then. Now we can use the little checklist provided. So there's checklist. We've got normal checklist menu. So before starting engine, so battery switch is on, emergency light switch is armed. Yes, it is. It is armed. Standby flight display switch is on. That is on. Avionics switch is in dispatch. Wheel chock, parking brake verify set. So yes, it is set. And wheel chocks, I imagine, are removed. Cabin door is closed. Passenger briefing complete. They do have all the briefing sound effects here. They do go on for quite a bit. For a bit of immersion, I've pushed the safety button for you there.
May I have your attention, please? At this time, please comply with the illuminated seat belt and no smoking signs. Thank you.
There you go. So I'll put the fasten seatbelt sign on first, perhaps. But it's nice little touch of immersion with the PAs there. This is Alpaca Executive. I forgot to mention our side branch where well, I understand Aspen. I didn't know much about the airport apart from it's very challenging, but I think it's very popular with all the rich and famous. So I think that airport sees plenty of business jets going in and out of. So we're fitting the bill quite nicely at Alpaca Executive today. Right. Brief the passengers, basically sit down, shut up and buckle up, seatbelts and pedals are done, exterior lights is required, best turn on the nav lights, and check the ICAS system, so obviously the PFD's off, but everything looks good here for now. FMS check and set, so we'll load the flight management computer here first. Let's initialize position. I did manage to find out how to do this earlier, but it took me ages. I'll wait for chat to perhaps remind me. Was it under perf in it? No. We'll need to load all this up. It took me ages to find the initialization page, but I think I could at least get the flight plan in at this stage. So what I'll do, I'll shift the FMS over here and I'll bring up the PDF for the flight plan. Which I have assigned. There we are. So I'll make that a little bit bigger for you guys to spot it. Lizzie Windsor's personal jet. Absolutely, Commander Jenhofen. Yes. Jim's given the safety briefing. You've got it. So here's the flight plan, straight from SimBrief. It's going to take us hour 56. I think it takes a little bit quicker on the test flight. It's about an hour 45. Felix, thanks. And James, index pos in it. Let's do that first. So index pos in it. There we are. So these coordinates, I guess, are generated from the GPS. So what I'll do, I'll just line select key those. There we are. Perfect. Thanks, guys. Excellent work as first officers. When I fly aircraft and not the 737, you guys are my virtual first officers. And keeping me on the ball here, albeit with a 10-second latency delay. Right, so no flight plan. Well, that's what we're loading now. So Kilo Mike, Kilo Charlie. We're going to KASE, which is Aspen. Alternate today is Denver, but I think when I tried putting that in earlier, KDen, it didn't accept it. Right, but it is still in beta. I think they claim that the FMS is 75% complete, but I mean, compared to the default one, much better, but it looks like it won't accept the alternate there. So we'll now go to the departure page. We're runway 19 we're going to plan on, which is the longest southerly runway. We have no ATC at all here at the moment. So what I'll do, I'll quote the METAR from you guys. There might be a way of even showing the METAR on this display, or in this aircraft somehow. But right now in Kansas City Wheeler Downtown Airport, 140 at 10 knots, 10 statute miles, overcast at 2,100 feet, it's -1, and the pressure setting is 3051, so we need to remember to set that after the engine is up and running. But thanks, Canary, for grabbing the METAR for everyone to see. Ruben Leroy, 10-second latency delay, still quicker than Jim, absolutely. Captain Penner, this is kind of similar to the 737 FMS. Yeah, it's very similar, which is why I like it. The kind of layout, the way you enter information, it's familiar. It's familiar. Right, runway 19er, Chief 7 is going to be a CATS transition, and we'll now go over to the flight plan page, next page, and we'll start putting the routing in. So you can see after CATS, it's direct to Sierra Lima November. That looks right, North 38, West 97, where we are in the world. Direct to Golf Lima Delta. And from there, it's going to be Juliet 80 to Delta Bravo Lima. Now, there's no arrivals, or stars, sorry, into Aspen. It's going to be this one, that west, east is the other side of the world. Now, I don't know if this is a Navigraph database issue, or maybe it's a CJ4 mod thing, but when I go to arrivals, when I select runway 15, it doesn't have any of the charted approaches. So there's two approaches. I think there's a GPS approach and a localizer only. It doesn't have any of those. So what we're going to do is one of two options today. I'll plan a runway extension point. This is the same as the 737 if you were flying a visual approach. You can basically select a runway, extend it, and select a glide path angle. Now, if the weather's below minimums or unable, or if we're unable to fly the charted visual approach, which is called the Roaring Fort Visual, we'll have to fly the localizer approach. I will use this, and then we'll use the chart and DME to step down with those altitudes. Now, I'll brief this all a lot later, but you'll see later on that this approach is a very, very steep. So if you actually fly the instrument approach, it leaves you twice as high as you'd usually be on a 3-degree approach. This one leaves you, say at 10 miles you want to do it at 3,000 feet. This will leave it at 6,000 feet AGL. So it's tough to manage, so we'll try and fly the visual. Anyway, what I want to do now is just put an extension point based off the final approach fix in Kansas, in Aspen. So what I'm just going to do is quickly jump over to Aspen. So this is the approach here. You can see it's going from Red Table to Jargu. Now what I'm going to do is put in just a 13... Actually, no, what I'm going to do is put Jargo in manually. So if I go here to flight plan. Actually, before I enter that in there. So I'm sort of having to modify this. I mean, this sometimes happens in the real aircraft. The approach isn't coded in the FMS, so you have to enter it manually using the runway extension point, or just fly in heading, select or vertical speed. It's unusual, but there are some places where it's like that. So I hope that doesn't cause any issues. Didn't like me doing that. Oh, I might have to... Oh dear. Could be a little bug here. I've lost all my flight plan information, and it's currently saying direct to Jargu. Interesting. Let's just put that in again. But this is good for devs, you know. They'll be seeing this and going, oh, well, maybe I screwed something up and put something in incorrectly. But I think because I put the runway point in first, and then tried to put some waypoints in, it did not like that. There we are. So I think we'll just do that again, but instead of that, we'll put in the Jargu waypoint first. But yeah, this is what simming's all about: finding bugs and finding slight issues. It may, again, like I said, be something I put in accidentally. So we know we're going from CATS direct to Sierra Lima November. From there, direct to Golf Lima Delta. And again, I'm inputting this information based off my knowledge of loading a 737 FMS. I know that the way I modified it shouldn't have been an issue. Should have put a waypoint in and then stepped down the rest of the database. So Juliet 80 Delta Bravo Lima. Top one. And then instead of putting in the runway point first, I'll manually type in that extended centerline point, which is Jargu. That's better. From Jargu, I'm going to put the initial approach fix, which is DOIP. There we are. And from DOIP, I'll then extend the center line. So I'll go here. Departure arrivals. Runway 15. Our DOIP's on 7.1, so I'll put 5 in execute. So hopefully now that's looking better. DOIP case, excellent. And I'll be flying visual by that point there. Perfect. All looking good. Right, let me now get rid of the Pro Streamer here. There we are, look at that, got rid of my chart. So the FMS is loaded. Let's now go to performance. So performance initialization, going to be cruising at 43,000 feet today, going all the way up there. Now 0 fuel weight, now we've got a full load of passengers and a little bit of baggage. So myself, Jim, 6 passengers, their skis and champagne, what else they'd like to travel. And the 0 fuel weight, kind of working backwards, I've calculated as being 5416. So basically I just took the takeoff weight minus the fuel to get the 0 fuel weight. And that's 5416. It's the same amount I used, or same 0 fuel weight I had when I did my first flight in this aircraft. I'm quite heavy. That gets rid of this information, but I think as long as it has the 0 fuel weight, that's fine. Fuel-wise, if I briefly get the flight plan up again for you, you can see that the minimum block fuel is 1495. So, because Alpaca Executive, we don't take any risks, I'm going to put 2 tons on. That's quite a lot of extra fuel for this aircraft. It burns like 500 kilos an hour, so 2 tons would be an extra hour's worth of fuel. So we'll definitely take that. So 2 tons, and you can see I've already uploaded it, 2 tons of fuel on board. And you see like 1,006 either side. So that's done. Takeoff page. From the ATIS then, let's punch in all this information. So it is surface wind of 140 at 10. Outside air temperature is -1. So we'd have to cold temperature correct everything here. It's 3051 on the altimeter, which is 1033 as a QNH, because I've got it all set to QNH in here. Runway's dry. Runway slope, don't know. Anti-ice off. We'll use flat 15. And there's our weights, there's our speeds. So I'll push this to send, and that will send those speeds to the PFD after engine start. And they've all gone all blue. So there we are. The FMS is all loaded. Thanks a lot for your patience there. I just realised that you couldn't see anything there because of the PDF was in the way. And we can carry on with the checklist.
20,
FMS then is checked
30,
and set.
20.
Climate control selector is off. There it is for now. Thank you very much, Abby.
Hello.
Thank you very much, Abby, for the $10 donation. Saying hello. We're in the US, my friend. Thank you very much, buddy, for your donation. Very, very kind. And hope you're having a great day. Fantastic. QPT Aviation Fascination. How did you make it display kilos? Does it show pressures in hectopascals? There was a setting in here to change it to metric. So it changes the weights to kilos and gets rid of inches. So I'm using now finally hectopascals and kilos. So the European version, essentially. Perfect. Right, what's left to do? Throttles idle, and we're ready for engine start. Okay, so the engine start procedure is very simple here. They've updated the documentation here to explain what you need to do. So all it says is engine start the engines in the CJ4. It's a very simple task. Once the battery is on, it requires no other configuration other than simply pushing the L or R engine starter, and then without delay pushing the L or R left or right engine run stop, and that's it. Monitor during the engine start, N2, N1, at 12% N2, ignition will be displayed. So completely automated engine start system. Simpler than the 737, just 2 buttons to push and then just monitor it to make sure there's no exceedances, essentially. Right, I'll just double check to make sure there's no ATC online. Nope, it's just us here, so we'll jump on out the aircraft here and get the engine started. So it is engine starter button, press the left or right engine starter, right, and then straight away put that to run. Monitor the engine performance on this one, then we'll go outside for the second engine start. So there's 12% N2, there's ignition. You'll see the N1 increasing. There's the ITT limits, I guess, for the engine start. There you can see the turbine temperature increasing, 300 degrees. After the ignition sequence begins, it'll rise before stabilising at 25%. Get up to 600 degrees ITT, which is what we have, and then the ignition button will extinguish once the engine's stabilised. Very, I guess, very nicely modelled, exactly how you'd want to be monitoring the engine start there. There you are, ignition's extinguished, so that's a good engine start now. So let's start engine number 1. Oh look, they've all come to watch. Oh, let's watch Alpaca Executive get on their way. Awesome. Are you about to kill the ground crew? No, we've not had the best record with ground crew at Microsoft Flight Simulator. We've severed many a heads. Jason Gilmore, is there any good corporate jets at X-Plane 11 that you're aware of? Not that I know. I'm sure there's several. Oh, yeah, light the beacon. Oh, my days. That's... Yeah, so this is where I'm in an unfamiliar aircraft there. So, before... Yeah, we would have got a clearance. Yeah, let's put a squawk in as well. So, tuning... The radio tuning panel works, actually. Look, I can change the... frequencies over using my radio tuning panel, which is really cool. Yeah, so let's just put a random squawk in. Let's go. Oh, we're in the US, so I'm just going to do 2000 anyway. And I'll put this to TAR 8 already, a bit early. Right, looks like we've had 2 good engines started, so all looking nice. They're, as I said, very impressed with the fact that we're here. Oh, I need to turn my speed down on my camera here. Pro streamer, yes, I know. Where's my drone speed? 6%. I just wanted to see their facial expressions. Oh no, they're not that interested, to be fair. Love the camera here. That's my security guard to make sure that all the passengers get away safely here. No auto throttle, correct, Terry Banton. A little bit more management with regards to managing all the systems there. Right, let's do the after start checklist then. So, throttle's idle, we did, engine started pushed, we checked the ITT, ICAS is fine, opposite engine we started, external power we can now disconnect. So index, page 2, mod, there's your settings, look if you're still watching, imperial metric, ground power can now be disconnected. So I guess that automatically puts the generators online. Nothing seems to have become unpowered. Right, electrical systems check. So I think we've got a little system button down here. So we've got ampage, voltage. It seems to be charging. Oxygen levels for, I guess, the entire aircraft for crew and passengers. Not sure. Hydraulic PSI pressure, fuel flow. It's got 2 pages. There's flight controls as well. So that's checked. There's the checklist button as well. Oh, it is taking me some time to find my way around this aircraft. There we are. So that's checked. So avionics switch on. There we are. Come to life. We'll set the pressure now. Look. Oof. So that QNH, or inches of mercury, sorry, 3056. Just double check that is the correct setting. It is. So live, well, it says 3051 on the METAR, but I think for the sakes of Microsoft Flight Simulator, it's fine. Avionics switch is on. Climate control selected to normal. You should get some whooshing air sounds. There we are. Passenger light safety button on. That is on. And we've done our little PA. Trim is set, so I'll just leave it in the green range. I'm setting the trim here. You see this little needle moving down? There we are. It's in the green range. Whether they have an actual trim calculation or with the load sheet, whether they actually calculate an accurate trim, I don't know, or they just leave it in the green range. Not sure. Flight controls, let's check those. So I think I've hidden them. There we are. So full forward and full back, and we have left and right. Here comes the rudders, full left and full right. All hunky-dory. So get rid of that there. Flight controls are done. Takes a lot longer for the 7.3. Speed brake, ground support is check. There we are. Oh, better put these little guard switches down. Flaps, we're going to have 15 for departure. There we are, before taxi checklist. So I'll do a little mini pushback here because I don't want to injure anyone. So if I do ye old faithful shift P, there we are. He's turned his truck on. The wheels don't seem to be spinning. Thanks a lot, buddy. Now, Hydro, I'm not a real-life pilot, I just hate the appearance on the sim, though. I think Microsoft Flight Simulator is very pretty. Remember, it's still in its infancy, and this aircraft is well on its way of being a kind of like a real-world replication of its counterpart. What are you doing? Oh my. What? Where are you? Oh! Just like that. Just moved. There we are. Yes, we're talking about the sim. Yes, there's a few little bugs, I think, with the graphics. I mean, look at the road. It's a little bit... I mean, this is just a default airport, remember, but it's a little bit of tidying up. I have my sim running on high end at the moment. Not ultra, but I don't expect it to be looking a little bit better. So as soon as the pushback's done, we'll do a little brief for the taxi and the SID. Matt, we designed them exactly like the real deal. If you hop in the real plane, they'll look exactly like that. Very cool. I'll be your pushback leader today, sir. He just pushes us back all the way to the line. I don't really want to block the exit for runway 19er. That'll do. Thank you. Have a great day. Brake is set. So yeah, in hindsight I should have briefed the taxi and SID already, but we'll have a quick look at that now. Let me just grab my charts. So we've just finished pushback here. We're going to make a left turn, taxi on Golf, cross 21 and runway 03 all the way to hold point runway 19. And quite a simple taxiway. Hotspot here, obviously because we're crossing an active runway. Here's our departure. It's called a Chief 7. Look at that, every runway's covered. So we're departing off runway 19er from Wheeler downtown, so it's actually covered several airports here. So for us, it's a climbing right turn heading 215 to, we get to 2,500 feet. And then I guess we continue climb afterwards. It does say 2,500 or above, and then en route. So what I'm going to do is set, I'm going to set our cruise level because there's no ATC here. So we're going to go to flight level 430 straight away. And again, yeah, this is stuff I should have done prior to engine start. It's all a little bit out of sequence here, because obviously we're sat here wasting fuel. Oh, no, that's really annoying. 430. Runway heading today is 192. So 192. You can sink it initially. It'll be a little bit quicker to get there. 192, and we're going to bug 240 knots for the speed, but I'm going to use the toga mode for departure. I'll bug 240 because that will be our initial climb speed here. 320 Sim Pilot has finished his stream. Yes, I actually timed this stream because I did see he was going to Innsbruck, and I didn't want to clash with his because he seems like a really nice guy. I've been emailing him a few times, and I was going to stream anyway. And I saw this morning, oh, he's streaming it to Innsbruck, so I thought I'll delay this one slightly. So I know a lot of people watch both the streams, which is really cool. But yeah, hopefully, I was hoping he would have finished before I started. Cool. So that's all set. Yeah, so that's it then. Let's have a little look at that. So I just want to quickly change the display orientation on the aircraft. So what we're going to do is climb straight ahead. It's going to be initially a slight turn onto a heading of 215 from 192, and then we're going to make a right turn. I think the SID takes us initially towards Kansas City VOR, and from then onwards we're going to go to Ozaki and then CATS. So if we just quickly look at the FMS, got runway 19, 2,500. There's Kansas City VOR, Ozaki, CATS. There we are. So it's all coded. We've got the at or above restrictions loaded into the FMS. And the only other thing I would like to do is change this display. So I think it's format. Yes. That one. That's the one I want, which displays you with the orientation of the aircraft. Perfect. Right. Thanks a lot for your patience, guys. It is an unfamiliar aircraft, but I do enjoy the challenge it presents. So we'll put the taxi light on, release the parking brake. I think we're all briefed, ready to go, and we'll start taxiing to Whole Point runway 19er. So let's add a little bit of thrust here. And here's the left turn. So straight on to Golf. Perfect. Hi says, what is your most difficult approach? Most difficult approaches I've flown. I've done a few circle to lands in some reputable airports in Europe I won't disclose. And Lanzarote runway 21 in Europe. I've done that. I did that last year for the first time. That was pretty tricky. But we love doing all the challenging approaches over here at Flying Deck to Sim, that is for sure. Cool. I'll leave the nice relaxing music on for a while, but once we get lined up, we'll turn that off to enjoy the departure. Oops, I forgot to do the before taxi checklist. So hydraulic pressure's checked, we saw it as 3000 psi, takeoff date is done, avionics checked, autopilot tested, pressurization verified, set ICAS, divider doors, checklist complete, taxi. Oops. Oh look, we're following a forklift to the Whole Point. Yes, that well-known ground vehicle. What else we've got left to do then? Exterior lights are set, brakes we've checked, parking brakes, release brakes, nose wheel steering done, flight instruments are checked. Before takeoff then. Excellent. Well done, Ruben and Andy. Yes, are you a real pilot? Fantastic. So there's the forklift. Where's he going? He's going on to runway 0321. Good luck, sir. Enjoy your flight. Right. So here's Delta. So I'm going to be careful here, crossing an active runway. Again, we seem to have lights galore on the taxiway. Oh. Who's that? Is that an aircraft on VATSIM? That must be an aircraft on VATSIM, I think. Pretty cool. Could just be on Unicom, actually. I just realised I'm not even on Unicom or anything here. So it should tune with my radio tuning panel. I've made it active. Let's just check anyway in the background here. So tuning 122805 now, 122.8. A little bit sensitive. Oops, oh, I'm sorry, I'm taxiing all over the place here. Oh, my days. There you are, 122.8, so I'm on Unicom now. So it's weird, because that aircraft's kind of got a strange silhouette around it. Is he on VATSIM? It must be, because I think when you're on VATSIM, when you're connected, it should get rid of all the default AI aircrafts and put it turned off. I'm just going to double check the VATSIM map, that's the best way of checking. No, There is no on. Oh, that is another aircraft on VATSIM. Yes, it's Alpaca 320 November. Excellent. So is he in a CJ4 as well, I wonder? Very cool. So wait for him to depart. And we'll notify our intentions on Unicom. Kansas City traffic, Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike, holding point runway 19, and we're waiting for departure. Right, there's parking brake set, so we'll do a little before takeoff checklist. Configurations checked, flaps we have 15, stab trim is in the green range. Departure is going to be the Chief 7, climbing straight ahead, slight right turn, onto a heading of 215 degrees at above 2,500, then we're going to make a right turn. Kansas City, climbing up to flight level 430, and the takeoff profile is a little bit different.
Traffic Alpaca 32 members lined up runway 19 for departure.
There we go. So that's the other guy on VATSIM, and then yeah. So what I'll do whilst we wait for him to depart, I'll again show the little working title user guide here, which is really useful. So this recommended takeoff procedure is in addition to completing the checklist. See, we can look out the window, see when he's rolling. So it says when entering the runway, enable toga. So they've modelled. So they've modelled the engine fire light here, or one of the master caution lights for toga. So we're going to push that. We then put the thrust levers in the takeoff detent, rotate pitch to 10 degrees, retract gears, and set flaps straight away to 0 after accelerating through V2 plus 10. So I think for the biz jets, these guys, they retract their flaps quite quickly after departure. Engage the yaw damper after retracting flaps, passing 1,000 feet, reduce power to climb, set target initial climb altitude with the out knob, which we've done already, and engage flight level change, and we'll pitch for 240. And then we'll engage nav. In fact, can I engage nav now? I guess that makes sense. Maybe not. Well, I'll engage nav. I'm going to push toga as well. We'll see what happens. So, right, let's line up. So, landing lights on. Transponder's already TARA, so MCP set, transponder TRA. Strobe lights are on as well. Lights are on. And I'll imagine we've got an takeoff clearance from tower. Tell traffic we're on our way. Excellent. Let's turn the music off for our departure. At Kansas City, Wheeler downtown traffic, Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike is taking off from runway 19. Oh, documents are still up. Yeah, thanks, guys. Oh, my days. So tough in Microsoft Flight Simulator because I can't see it on my screen. I wish they had Habitat. Perfect. So again, remember, I'm not a citation guy, so this takeoff might be completely incorrect, but I'll give it my best shot for you. Toga's in chat, even though we don't have toga. I think the modes are overwritten by toga, maybe plainly. We'll soon find out. Right. Oh, look, I even remember to start the timer, elapsed timer, and there it is. 2 minutes already. 2 seconds already. Right. Let's head on now to Aspen. So engines look all stabilised. Nothing's exceeding. EGT's not spiking, so that's looking good. Set takeoff thrust. Uh-oh. Master caution. Stop. That's what I do in a 7.3. I know exactly what it was. That's our first ever rejected takeoff during a live stream. So an RTO in the 737. Captain would call stop. Immediately disconnect the order throttle, close the thrust levers, apply max manual braking, select max reverse thrust, and then reverse thrust, bring the aircraft to a stop and set the parking brake. But I forgot to turn on the pitot-static heat system. There we are. I knew exactly what it was, but I didn't want to go heads down. Now, in the event of an RTO like that, you'd vacate the runway because you've not done your takeoff performance from another point here. So I'd have to go all the way around, taxi, stop the aircraft, complete any checklists, and then see if we could dispatch or not. Now, if it's a high-speed rejected takeoff above 80 knots in the 737, that's it. We have to go back onto stand. But there you are. For sake of realism, we did a rejected takeoff, and we'll imagine we've done the takeoff performance from this intersection. Right, set takeoff thrust, toga. There you are. Right, takeoff thrust set, indications normal. A little bit of right rudder here. There's 80 knots. There's V1, rotate. And we're airborne. Positive rate of climb, gears coming up, and following the flight directors. And flaps up. Perfect. So we'll turn the yaw dampers on. Yaw dampers on. And trimming. Engage nav as well. Don't think that has come in. That's commanding a right turn. Whoa! Well, I thought the flight directors would be pitching for. I forgot to engage flight level change, I think. Slight overspeed, nothing to see. Flight level change. Put the D10 to climb. And now it should pitch to maintain 240 knots. So it looks like it's commanding the right turn at 2,500. The active waypoint now is the Mike Charlie India. Oh, this thing is climbing. There we are. We'll get the autopilot in as well. So yeah, very busy departure there. Very busy. So I think all I forgot to do there was engage flight level change. So basically, I think the flight director was locked to maintain 10 degrees, and obviously because it still had takeoff thrust set, it was still flying. There we are. Autopilot's in. And there we are. Nothing to see here. Leave the gear down to cool the brakes. Absolutely. Yeah. So a couple of unrealistic points there. RTO, don't just take off from where you stopped. That was just a bit of fun. And don't forget to engage climb thrust and then flight level change at 240 knots. That was the only thing there. So the auto throttle was still powering on here. I think the flight director was like locked at 10 degrees for the go around there, but she's going now. There we are. And let's now do the after takeoff checklist. Eyes protection systems checked. Before takeoff checklist. There you go. Rudder bias system, seats, flaps, speed brakes, trims. And that's why checklists are so important. Forgot to turn the probes on. Right, TCAS TARA. Radar as required. We pushed the go around button. Battery output is fine. Eyes protection system is required. Pitot static heat is on. Exterior lights as required. We're still on the before takeoff checklist here. Throttles we did. Brakes release. Rotator VR. Landing gear is up. Flaps are up. Throttles climb. Yaw dampers on. Autopilot as desired. Ice and light systems are set. And there we are. After takeoff checklist. Landing light button. We'll leave the lights on until 10,000 feet. Pressurization's checked. I don't think it's fully modelled yet. Might be, but not sure where to check that. Altimeters will stay on the inches of mercury until we pass 18,000 feet, and that's it. After takeoff checklist complete. And then it's the cruise. Now, we're going to maintain 240 knots throughout the entire climb, and then that will convert automatically to Mach 0.64. So we're going to do that here. Otherwise, we'll do the pre-cruise checks. Fuel, we have what's that, 1,900 kilos on board exactly. And lights, we can turn off the landing lights. Pressurization, again, not entirely sure if that's modelled yet. And we'll release the passengers. There we are. Pre-cruise checks complete. We made it. That was a super. This was a super busy departure here. Where can I get the manual for this plane? Christian, check out the working title CJ4 Discord. They have all the manuals available there. Perfect. There's Mike Charlie India. We can check the charts to see how we're navigating. It's navigating perfectly, right over the top of the Kansas City VOR. Left turn now, about 266 to Ozaki. And you can see, look, there's the left turn inbound to Ozaki now, 28.9 miles. A little bit steep on that turn, I fear. It's around 32 degrees there. 7.3 will bank up to 30. I don't think it probably is meant to bank over 30 there. Listen, we made it, he says, 3 minutes into the flight. Yeah, we made it to the after takeoff phase reasonably safely. Reasonably being the key word. Wicked. Love this aircraft. Well, bye-bye, Kansas. Russell Campbell, I don't expect anything but fun on Microsoft Flight Sim just now. Yeah, it's got a bit of work to make it a little bit more realistic with some of the behaviours, I think, of the handling and stuff, but it works. But still some work to do. Robert Adcock, I'm flying the Cessna Citation as well. I'm just ahead. We heard you, Robert, in Alpaca 320 November. I finally remembered to tune up Unicom. Plenty company SOPs to do before takeoff, after. Now you might have noticed I did my own 737 SOP checklist prior to departure. So you heard me checking the flaps, you heard me doing a little briefing, checking the stop level, and usually on the 737 the window heat and probes configured prior to taxi, so that's why I've skipped it. Remember, I fly the 737, I've flown the 737 for 10 years, nearly 5,000 hours, so my brain is hardwired into operating that aircraft. So when I jump into something different, and the order in which you do things here with that checklist is a little bit out of sequence to what I do it, which means things are steps are forgotten. Very nice. Maxwell Golding, flight deck to sim flies in America and starts making all the mistakes. Yeah. But she is climbing. Look at that, 24,000 feet already. We'll maintain 240 knots because that's what it says in the manual until conversion. But this aircraft is worlds ahead of the default Cessna Citation now, CJ4, and there's a lot of devs involved. A lot of, and the CJ4, at least one pilot I know, if not more. And what a lovely day to go flying. The weather in Aspen today is fantastic. Looks really, really nice to fly this roaring fork visual approach. Right now in Aspen, clear skies, 6 degrees, lovely, lovely day.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Thank you very much, Fly with Pascal, for your donation, sir.
WHAAAAA make it rain from Switzerland. She's great content.
Thank you, Fly Pascal. I think what it was meant to say was, wow, make it rain from Switzerland. She's great content. Well, Fly Pascal, that's wonderful. Thank you so much for your donation and comment. Very kind of you. And not sure what any of that means, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Is this song? Very good. So I think, excuse my lack of geographical knowledge around here. Not much, I don't think, outside. I think it's all farmland around here. But obviously, as we get closer to Colorado, it's going to look very mountainous and very pretty. This approaches some very high terrain here. I was actually watching a few YouTube videos this morning of bizjets flying into this airport. It's quite interesting. I mean, this approach on the 737 would be, I think, impossible. Well, certainly the instrument approaches. Now, I think there might be some specific airline charted approaches, but the instrument approach available on Navigraph, yeah, you can't do that in the 737. I mean, it's a 6.5 degree slope. That's impossible. Captain, are you on standard yet? I was just testing you guys. Well done. Blame Jim. That's another thing in the US. They have such a high transition altitude. You guys keep telling me, oh, don't set that until you pass 18,000. I forgot anyway. Ruben Leroy Aspen, isn't that the hard approach you tried once? I think we did it in the Microsoft Flight Simulator Landing Challenges stream. One of them was a flight into Aspen, and it's one of the more detailed airports depicted in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Bradley Bull, random 7-3 question, is the 700 harder to land than the 800? The 700's shorter. It doesn't have the tail skid assembly to protect the tail skid, so I wouldn't say it's any easier to land. It's very difficult to tail strike the 700 compared to say the 800, which in certain conditions is quite easy to get a tail strike. But no, the same technique is applied. Around 20 to 30 feet, just check, so increase your attitude slightly in the flare, smoothly close the thrust levers so it's an idle touchdown, and hold the attitude. Same technique. Listener, Premier 1 driver landed there in a vlog and had several terrain warnings coming off. I foresee some fun ahead. Yeah, it's not a routine airport. Is there actually any routine commercial flights? I think I did see one of a little Embraer. I think is it American Eagle that's flying to Aspen? I don't think the 737 operates there. Dropping some frames, yeah. So guys, the FPS you're seeing, it's YouTube. Now I was playing back my last Cessna Citation stream. And I noticed on the playback the FPS was nowhere near as good as, say, it is in game. I've not had a single FPS stutter here at all. This is running completely smoothly. In fact, I've got the fly live thing here, and it's running between 40 and 50 FPS here. So I don't know, I mean, someone might be able to answer in chat. I think there's been reported issues with Microsoft Flight Simulator and streaming because of, I don't know, to do with the FPS and the way it records it. All three majors fly there with CRJs. Ah, okay. Acre Brick, you're flying there in the A320. This is going to be interesting. Yeah, that would be interesting to get that in there. A Patriot, I've learned about KMKC system and how pilots didn't know about it because they didn't want to train their pilots because of cost. How horrible. I mean, I looked at the max conversion in initial presentation, which was over, what, a year and a half now, 2 years ago. Yeah, there was no comment about KMKC, but that aircraft is now pretty much flying. It's got the all clear from EASA. It's flying, I think, in the United States and South America as well. So it'll be... I'm confident the aircraft is now completely safe. The regulatory authorities have literally tested this aircraft, thoroughly for the last 2 years. So having to make major changes and modifications to all of them. So I confidently, what's going on there? I think that's Microsoft Flight Simulator and altimeter going funny. So yeah, I'd confidently fly the aircraft now. Russell, you attempted to land the Constellation into Aspen. Wow. Justin W. Max wingspan at Aspen is 95 feet due to parallel taxi being so close. So no 7.3s. Well, to be fair, the charted approach there, Justin. Let me flash that up here. I mean, I don't know if there's airline specific ones, but you're not coming off that in a 737. At 6.59 degrees. I mean, that is more than twice the height of a standard approach. So you're talking, I mean, a rate of descent to maintain 6.5. Oh, it's here, look. 140 knots, you need to do 1,700 feet per minute. Oh, that's crazy. 160 is nearly 2,000 feet per minute. That is not going to happen in a 737 at all. Now, the only option is, and what was quite interesting was when I was looking at some videos online earlier, what a lot of people is, they come in off this approach here, and I guess if you're flying this approach completely from 7.1 DME, 11,700 down to the minimums, I mean, you're gonna have to be dirty, as in gear down, flaps. And I was actually looking at one particular video. These guys were using full flap, gear, and spoilers. It was the only way they could descend on this profile. It is stupidly high. I mean, this is more than twice the height you'd have on a conventional approach. So what I see is a lot of people, they fly the approach initially, they go on the localizer DME East, they get to around Jagu 10 miles, they're visual, and they request a visual approach. And once you fly visual, that relieves ATC from having to worry about keeping you free from terrain, but also you can throw this approach away because you're not flying it anymore. Now, ideally, you'd want to respect all the charted altitudes, but you'd switch over to this awesome looking approach, the Roaring Fork Visual, which obviously there's no charted altitudes. It's a visual approach. You're fully responsible for terrain clearance. So the idea is today we'll plan and initially fly from Red Table to Jargu, but once we get to Red Table, I'm going to sort of switch from the DME approach to the visual, and I'll disconnect everything and hand fly, and this actually still leaves you quite high anyway. But yeah, we'll have a look at what we have to do. But yeah, this is very unusual to... I think I practiced this earlier. I had to bring the gear down flap full in the Citation here and speed brake, but that's what the guys were doing on the YouTube videos. Not that that's an authorized source, but these guys were flying the real deals. You know, the big Embraer business jets, the Citations, the little Phenoms, and they were getting really like gear, flap, speed brake, all of that out. And I was looking at that as a 737 driver, thinking, oh my goodness me, you can't do that. But of course, in a bizjet like that, no problem at all. There we are. So we're now maintaining Mach decimal 6.4. When we're going to level off, I'll let the aircraft accelerate. I'm going to leave the thrusting climb. We're going to go up to Mach decimal 7.5. Looking good at 40,000 feet here. Just not quite as crisp as Ortho. I think the Ortho zoom level in X-Plane looks a little bit crisper at this height. Looks a little bit washed out. It's nice though. And it's all there. I don't have to worry about installing millions of tiles. But very flat round here. Beautiful. So I'm just looking on a little map here. We're about to fly over a town called Manhattan. Then we're going to fly to Salina. And then right over the top of Denver, where we'll start our descent into Aspen. Sweet. Sim 737 pilot, I challenge you to do this approach in the Zebo. Yeah, we did it in London City once, and that's 5, and that was difficult. OD, I managed to get a job offer with a well-known European carrier. I don't suppose you're doing type rating instructing anytime soon. Love your videos. OD, congratulations on getting a job. I no longer instruct in the sim. I'd love to have that role still, but I wanted to become a captain 2 years ago, so I left my job as an SFI to do the command upgrade course. Became a captain, which meant I had to forego becoming an SFI, but I look forward to perhaps working in the sim in the not too distant future in better times. But well done getting a job in these very testing times. It's now been, what are we now? End of January. It's been over 2 months since I flew. I had 4 flights rostered for December, 2 in December, 2 in January, and I had 1 next month as well. All have been cancelled now. A great shame. Oh, I just realised I have the plugins command, but yes, bear in mind the plugins command is for X-Plane 11 plugins. Odie, shame, was hoping to meet you. You never know, Odie, you might be working at the same airline. I'll perhaps look out for you. Brad Smarks, does the CJ4 have a top of descent? It has a working VNAV system, yes. Should generate all that for us. How is it I get into... There we are. Show you some of the little nice views here as we level off at 43,000 feet. Japan Air, yes. Listerman, how is the new stream overlay called again? Fly Live. Fly Live. Ben Spouse with the Zebo minimum fuel, 50 passengers, nice and light with everything on. Out on approach and a zigzag on final might work. Yeah, full left rudder all the way in, Ben. Possibly. That could make for a Sunday fun day stream. William Mallard. William, I think you dropped me an email, didn't you? Is it you? And I never, ever got back to you regarding your project. I'm so sorry if that is you. As you can imagine, I have so much on my plate with regards to the channel. I think it was you anyway. But to everyone, yes, William. I hope you're doing well, and I remember you emailing me and I never got back to you from last year, so sorry for that. It's buried in my emails, but I'm sure it's on hundreds of emails, Gmail and stuff, but best of luck when you do start your type rating as well, buddy. Petar, you just got a cabin altitude warning, hold your breath. There we are. It's crawling up to 43,000 feet. Looks like it's going to outhold a little bit early, but it's looking okay. Airborne now for 22 minutes. We're already up at 43,000 feet. Cheers, William. I'll say I get back to you, but I've got a lot on the next few days as well. Not just the channel. The channel's keeping me very, very busy. But I've got a few things going on in personal life. Nothing bad at all, but it's keeping me very, very busy. There we are, 43,000 feet. Excellent. So, what does the overlay see up here? It says we'll be landing at 2232. Sounds about right. Now, how do I find out this information here? Now, I might have a little play with this in the cruise. They've implemented some new systems. I think, for example, missed approaches are fully coded. Now, unfortunately, Aspen isn't coded, or doesn't have the approaches coded here, so we can't really demonstrate the new missed approach feature, which is a bit of a shame. But I quite like the idea of flying this a few more times on the network. One of the flights I was thinking of flying today when I jumped into this aircraft was, there was an event going on in Dubai, but it was a little bit earlier. As I said, I didn't want to clash with 320 sim pilot streaming earlier. So I thought, well, you know what, let's have a look at some cool approaches around the world. So I literally typed in here, or have a look at my destination requests and stuff like that, have a list of them, and Aspen was one of them. And I thought, Aspen, that could be a really nice sector for the CJ4. And I looked at it, I thought, yes, this is perfect. And it's also modelled in Microsoft Flight Simulator in high detail. And the weather that was there, I looked at the weather and I thought, fantastic. Because the first time we flew this Citation, we flew to Juneau and the weather was atrocious. I mean, Microsoft Flight Simulator was having a bit of a problem trying to interpret the METAR. It was giving me conditions far worse. We ended up flying, was it 3 missed approaches? But yes, finally a beautiful day, lovely weather to look forward to for this approach today, and a nice challenging approach. I listed it, I was joking, but he did say we should hold your breath during a cabin depressurization. Make your lungs explode. Please don't hold your breath. Please place your oxygen mask on as soon as possible and breathe normally. Perfect. Makes your eyes pop out. Maybe in space. Scout Sergeant, hi Flight Data Sim. I really love the content. My dad used to be a C-class private pilot back when I was born. He owned a Piper Cherokee. He's 75 now. I've shown him some of your videos and he really loves it. That is awesome, Scout Sergeant, and superb that your old man was flying around Piper Cherokees long before I was probably born. That's very, very nice to hear. Very cool. And I'm glad he loves the streams. Ugo, hope you're doing well, and your mug is on the way. Well done winning the giveaway last stream. Would have loved to have been on that CTZ. I think you're referring to another comment, perhaps. Excellent. So, I think we'll have a little play. Oh, look, I'm not concentrating. So here comes decimal 75. So I'm going to put the thrust back to cruise here. Ooh, it's a little bit higher on the M1. So like the 737-200, no auto throttle. Got to keep a close eye on its speed. I'll set 95.7 initially. Let's just see if it holds the Mach there. Just a random thrust setting. So it used to be quite stable actually. Just take a little bit more off, a smidgen off. Not too much. Just very fine tuning the thrust there. We are. So 95.3. We'll keep an eye on it. Might just get close to MMO. I think it's decimal 77 in this aircraft. Better just check the VATSIM map as well. Ollie, how do you descent plan for the visual approach and know when to turn just by looking at the chart? More guidance is required, surely. The chart provides some very basic guidance, but a visual approach, you know, there is no... Well, this is a very unique chart because this is a visual approach chart. So you have these charts where they yeah, they give you some guidance on how to fly a particular visual approach. And actually, Navigraph released today, and I think Aspen's covered, because we were talking about it with one of the members earlier, some more detailed charts with pictures included. So we'll have a look at the Navigraph's new features with detailed charts. But yes, a visual approach, there is no real set guidance, essentially. You configure the aircraft, fly, keeping clear of terrain at all times. So I'll do my best there, Ollie, to sort of talk you through how we'd set up and fly a visual approach. Oh, it's so cool. It's a couple of people flying with me. Usually get a lot more aircraft on VATSIM, but obviously I'm in the United States here. Oh, Aspen Tower's online. That is cool. That'd be quite cool to get some ATC later. You can clear us for the... I want ATC to tell me you're cleared for the Roaring Fork visual approach. I think that sounds really, really cool. Hopefully we'll allow the visual approach. I hope so. I hope so. And I think in real life it is actually required. Even though it's a visual approach and you are responsible for terrain clearance, I was reading about the approach in Aspen. I think it is a requirement for you to have ATC with radar anyway, so they can monitor your descent. I think it's to do with departures, leaving at the same time. I did read something about that. But again, I'm not an Aspen expert. Never have flown there, and I doubt never will. Yeah, so what I want to do is have a look at some of the new features with this FMS, which has been updated by the working title team. Let's grab the manual here. We'll zoom up the FMS there. Perfect. So, done the climb procedure in the cruise. When reaching cruise altitude, you can use the throttle to set power to maintain your desired cruise speed up to MMO. In the real aircraft, any throttle setting besides takeoff can be used during cruise. There is no D10 for cruise on the auto throttle. And then it says monitor fuel flow, time reserves on the perf page. So you can check out the perf page. It's got fuel management, time to reserves, range to reserves. Fantastic. All this is measured and calculated and modelled. Your fuel flow, current ground speed. Is that it? 349 knots. What's the... Oh, look at that. I only just realised an 84 knot headwind. That's outrageous. Yeah, 349 knot ground speed. That isn't great. Anyway, it seems like loads of information is available. Engine flow fuel used. And trip information as well. It's smart. So descent procedure talks about the 3 times table, which is the basic descent path you can use, how to use the approach and landing. We'll have a little read of this as we get closer to Aspen. Missed approach procedure, weight and balance, how to configure it. And remember, if you want to grab this manual, it's in their Discord. I think it's, I can't remember what channel it is. All the information is there. It is so easy to install, guys. You just literally grab the GitHub file, download it, and then you just drag it to the community folder in Microsoft Flight Simulator. That is it. It's a very small file. It's only about 40 megabytes, but and then you just load in Microsoft Flight Simulator in the CJ4. It's all there. Oh, Matt says we recommend not going to the VNAV setup page at the moment. Roger that. So yes, thanks a lot, Matt, for your help earlier as well. It is still in beta. A lot of testing going on, and I think the VNAV is proving to be a little bit temperamental, but no doubt you'll have fixed it. But I'll only be using VNAV for the initial descent phase. I'll be flying the Roaring Fork visual hopefully today, and I'll be disconnecting everything. Robert Adclock, did you remember to set the clock? I did remember to start the elapsed timer. Look, you can see it just here. 29 minutes and 57 seconds. Ooh, looking hunky-dory there for the time. Good. So yeah, they got a fantastic, I was looking at it earlier, flight management system, a full manual here, talking about how to change all the settings. And this is free, guys. It's completely free. It's like everyone that works on these teams, working title, Zebo, the fly-by-wire team. You know, it's all people dedicated to improving your simming experience. Pause init page, perf menu, talks about how to find all the different information. Takeoff page, so we went through that. Runway slope's not yet implemented, but basically it'll generate V speeds, I guess, from the real table of performance there. Talks about all the speeds there. Now that was a speed I did see, and I wasn't too sure because I've never heard of the speed of VT, and that is the single engine en route climb speed, which is 140 knots. Never seen that speed before. Very interesting. Now I know what VT means. I don't remember that from my ETPL days. The approach page, you must select V before V speeds will calculate. So you got to select your arrival runway to get your V speeds to calculate. Understood. Very nice. Alternate's not yet implemented. How to enter the flight plan, very similar to how you enter it in the 7.3. Visual approaches, so that's sort of what we did there. That's exactly the same as the 737 as well. You just simply select the runway point instead of any of the instrument approaches, and then generate a runway extension point. Additionally, in the 737, you select your glide path angle as well. That's correct. Legs page, information you enter the same as the 737. Sequencing. Auto inhibit. When in auto, the FM must automatically advance to the next waypoint after passing it and activate the next leg. But you can inhibit that. Why on earth would you want to inhibit sequencing? Discontinuities, missed approach, custom waypoints. So you can put all custom waypoints in using the waypoint name, lat and long, fixed bearing distance time. It's getting better and better. Holds, we did holds on the last stream. Looking excellent. The radio tuning panel, so you can use this page here, and it's working with my Logitech radio tuning panel, so you can see if let's put it up. Well, I want 122.8 on anyway, but if I just put 122.9, press the transfer button. There you go, you can see it changing, look. Perfect, so it does work, which is great. And fully on VATSIM, first time taking it on VATSIM, so it seems to be working. A little bit of guidance on the autopilot. Yeah, nice manual. It's not too in-depth. It's my sort of manual. Very cool. I thought you'd be interested to see that, guys. Oh no, how do I get rid of my charts? There we are. Superb. Let's jump on outside. Listerman, what airliner thinks about climbing with one engine off? Well, Listerman, you might be saying that in jest, but there's actually something quite important. But you imagine, Listerman, you've just taken off from an airport where the visibility is 200 metres and overcast at 200 feet. You've just taken off and had an engine failure. Can you get back into your departure airport? You can't. No, because you can't fly in the 737. You can't fly to Cat 3 conditions. In Cat 1 ILS only. So it is very important to know that you might have to divert to perhaps your takeoff alternate, which you would have in the case that you couldn't get down to your departure point. So it's very important to know that the aircraft is fully capable of climbing single engine to a single engine cruise altitude and then reposition there. So there you go, Lister. That is perhaps why that VT speed is quite important in this aircraft. Other than a very few bugs, excellent work. I agree plainly. And remember, this aircraft, how long is this? I mean, I've only heard of the working time of one last month or so. Henrik, hi, just tuned in. How is the flight going? And how is the weather at Aspen? Any fog? Looking perfect. The weather's looking really, really nice in Aspen. Thank you. Thank you, weather gods. How's the FPS for you guys looking? So some people were saying that they're having a few FPS issues. It's running very smoothly for me. In fact, my Fly Live app is saying we're cycling between kind of 50 and 60, but it doesn't seem to go down to 25 sometimes. But it's running very smoothly on my monitor. Listen, well, yes, that's a problem. Cool, thanks. Well, there you go. Very important to know that you can still divert from your departure point. Thanks, Tim. Hope you're doing well, buddy. And your missus feeling a bit better as well. Rock City Strong looks fine to me, thank you, buddy. So, still right in the middle of Kansas, just north of Whitaker. Oh no, is it Wichita? Wichita, sorry. and we've just flown over the town of Salina. Apparently, that's Salina down here. And this is Interstate 70. Is it Interstate? My US friends, I think it's Interstate 70 according to the map, but I'm guessing it's an interstate. Excellent. There's the weather I can see in Aspen. 330 at 6 knots, 10 statute miles, 8 degrees. Very warm actually, 8 degrees. I'm quite surprised it's that warm. Not be much snow there if it's 8 degrees. But looking good. Sweet. A bit of cloud down there. Perfect. So next check's the send checklist. So yeah, this is like running an LNAV, VNAV, so it's following the planned routes in the FMS. You can still route conventionally, so you can change the nav frequency from FMS to follow the VOR, for example. So what do I want to do? Match heading. There we go. So what we could do is tune the Sierra Lima November VOR, which is 1710. Now for some reason, when I try and tune it on the radio tuning panel, it isn't working. It's only the COM frequencies, but if I go to tuning panel, type in 1171. Oops. And there was a new feature as well. I think you can pre-save some frequencies and then just have a kind of like a quick load feature, which is quite cool. But I'm not 100% sure now I have it tuned of how to actually get the VOR information to display here, because I know if I push this, the autopilot switches from following the flight management routing and it follows the radial you're on. But I don't actually know how to bring up the VOR information, such as DME and RMI. Click on the button next to nav1. So yeah, I think you can preset, this is a little neat feature from the Citation, you can preset frequencies and then I guess you just simply punch in the number to put it in there. You'll want to go to PFD menu, bearing source. Thanks guys. Found it. Got you. There you go. Oh, so cool. You guys got this all nailed. That's really cool. That's going to be useful for the approach. So there you are. Nav1. I guess I can have VOR2 pointing on as well. I mean, you imagine the guys operating this aircraft would be very quick at pushing all these buttons, getting the information they want. There you are. So I've got the VOR1 information there as well. Ollie, A320 can auto land with one engine shutdown, can the 737. Now, at my operator, we have a fail passive automated landing system, which means we can't land with one engine. But I think, not 100% sure, but I think the fail operational system does give you the ability to land a single engine with an auto land, but I'm not 100% sure. Oh, thanks Microsoft Flight Simulator for putting me a little bit low. Very cool. Alright guys, what I'm going to do is just have a quick 2 or 3 minute break, and where are we now? We should be airborne for another an hour and 20 minutes. So yeah, I'll have a 4 or 5 minute break actually, and then when I get back we'll start talking about the approach into Aspen and see what we can find out, divulge, as I said, the information I have on it, but we'll try and do some sort of detailed briefing. Guys, I'll be back in about 5 minutes. Cheers. Thanks a lot for that, guys. All back for the second half. Those clouds look like pancakes. Yes, they do look a little flat, but clouds can look like that. But, yeah, looks like the only way I'd describe how that looks is you're on Microsoft Paint when you have the spray can button. Yeah. I've got my clouds in Aspen 11 looking really nice recently, but I haven't done anything. It's just the cloud texture set. So, if I go to that one, it is not that one right there. Loads of stuff modelled here now. Now, what was it I was looking for? Oh yeah, departure arrivals. Index. No, I wanted to get to the VNav page. There we are, VNav setup, VNav monitor, there you are. So this should tell you, oh, inactive. Interesting. Now, looks like I've lost the VNav information. I swear there was a page and it was under something like this. VNav setup, VNav waypoints, and usually this should show all the information, but it does say VNav inactive. Now that's usually it shows you all the VNav information, so such as your top descent point, your remaining distance, but it looks like that's not working unless I've missed something here. It does say inactive. It was working on the previous version earlier, but I don't think I've forgotten something. But if that doesn't work, not to worry. We can still work it all out conventionally. We can use flight level change to descend and go from there. Do you have a discontinuity? Let's have a look. Wait. Possibly. It's all good there. Does it have the approach program? Yeah, I did put the approach in, yes. Remember it was it's got KASE there, and I put in the runway point. You're not, you got to be in VNav. See, that's another difference from the 737. The progress page still works. Well, the VNav page on here should still provide the VNav information. Have I discovered something else not modelled, or is that just the CJ4? There we are. So you've got to be in VNav. Well, it's still not showing me the information anyway. It does say active, but it does still say 00000. Try loading the approach again, says Matt. Now I did do this earlier, and I put in the same approach. Let me do that again. Then runway 15, and I'll put a 5 mile point on the flight vision anyway. Execute. Let's hope it doesn't spit all the route information in. That looks better. RX point now. Direct RX. That should perhaps have fixed it. I'm so happy I've got some of the devs watching. There you go. Ta-da! Finley. Unbelievable. There you go. So 346 miles to the top of descent. We're doing 348 knots. You can work out that one, guys. How long till top of descent? It's that headwind. 90 knot headwind. That's crazy. Yeah, so the approach, for some reason, I think that might have been when I accidentally erased it earlier. It looks like it's sequenced correctly now with the RX point. coded, same as the 7.3 as well. RX point generated when you create a visual approach. Perfect. So Golf Lima Delta, Foxtrot, quick Foxtrot. So good lands the next VOR. So 15-1, we can make that active. And you should hopefully see the cyan arrow switch over. Plop. There you go. Golf Lima Delta. Oh, still no top of descent. Was there not? Did I miss that? I thought there was. Oh yes, top of descent 0. Oops. Oh, interesting. I should think that's still... yeah, I mean, I think that's to do with the route I put in the FMS. Because I tested it earlier, it worked fine, I had a top of descent point VNav. That might mean we don't get any VNav to work, because it looks like it's not generated a... no altitudes here either. Ah. Let's give it a full route again, it should perhaps need that. Nope, still no top of descent. Listed finance remember shooting Aspen by 60 miles. Yeah, not sure that one. It's got a constraint, but no waypoint, and it says at 7713. I think that's the elevation of Aspen. This flight data sim troubleshooting, this is. No discontinuities. Planning, calculate yourself like in the old types. Yeah, like when we fly the 737-200. Yeah, we'll just do it that way. Shame that we can't use VNav, but I won't want to be using VNav for the last part of the approach anyway. Is this some... Let's try a different tune. That's better. Now he's getting the calculating ruler. Flight data manual. Chris says weird, maybe try to enter the constraint manually. Well, what I would like to do then, could I put a constraint in any altitude? If I put a constraint in, perhaps. It needs to work backwards from something, so it needs to, I mean, it's obviously not able to work backwards from this height, but let's say at Delta Bravo Lima, uh-oh, it's the V1 over here, is it? Just past MMO. Now, why has it done that? Change of wind in the sim? I think it might have just smacked on an extra 10 knots headwind, which is why it's pushed us into MMO. Come on. A little bit of partial speed brake. I thought that was someone trying to contact me on V-Pilot. So it's sitting quite nicely at decimal 7.5 for ages. No, let's just quickly creep back up again. No, I'll keep a close eye on that because the speed's going to come back a little bit slower here. Few exceedances today. Yes, as I was saying, Delta Bravo Lima, I want to be at around 12,500 feet for the visual. Let's see if that's helped out, because it's given it something to bite. Actually, no, it's a little bit. No, we should be, if we're planning the DME, it should be higher. 13,400. There we are. Perfect. 206 miles. So, I think what happened was, basically, it could be to do with the visual approach because, you know, I've not got a fully coded approach in there. Usually when you put in an ILS approach or any charted approach, all the constraints are there, and VNav works backwards. It'll look at the constraint it wants to get to first, and then it'll base its descent path off that. Now, because we've told the aircraft, look, we want to be at red table VOR at 13,400, VNav can now work backwards from that and go, right, I want you to descend at this point to be at 13,400 by red table. And that's fine for us, because after that point, I'd like to request the visual approach anyway. So we can actually check VNav for that stage. It'll be the second time I've flown this aircraft and not flown an ILS approach. We've been doing all the tricky airports in here. But yeah, we've got down to the bottom of that one at least. Perfect. Yes, not too long to go. It's very strong headwinds day. Look at all those fields. I really see this in America. Such a huge country. Hello, Karen. He says, "What's up, Captain? All good here. What's up with you, sir?" Top of descent alarm, possibly. Lever exceeds. Evan, if you're not fully configured with gear down at Delta Bravo Lima, you can kiss a stabilised descent goodbye. Yeah, I've seen this, Evan. I mean, I know the approach there. I don't know how these guys can actually fly the LOC-DME East approach, and you know, you've got to be level at the final approach fix. I think it's DOIP at 7.1 miles at 11,700. And then you're on a 6.59 degree path. I mean, the runway, you can't even see the runway, it's below the nose. I don't know how you can actually get it in there. Gennaro, doing the back course. Well, no, I'm going to be doing, hopefully, the Roaring Fort visual. But I did see there's another offset LDA approach using the back course from a another localizer. But no, we're going to use that if we have to go around. Evan, you've done it in a level DCR J7 and it's straight up not possible. Yeah, I can imagine. I've watched one approach online, Evan, and these guys, they started off with the DME East and they went over red table at the charted altitude 13,400, and as soon as they got below the cloud at the initial fix, I think it's Jargu, they disconnected everything, gear, full flaps, speed brake, the whole lot. They were going down at 3,000 feet per minute, and they were on the Pappies, which are 3.5 degrees, I think by about 5 miles. I mean, I don't know how who built this approach. I mean, obviously, to build an approach, there has to be all the obstacle clearance criteria and whatnot there, but I guess some of the main airlines that fly into here, I think all the main kind of like airlines that fly the CRJs and stuff like that, they must have their own charted approach charts. There's no way they're getting off the Navigraph chart there. SkyWest Go, Jet Fly there, CHR7, they must have speed brakes out the whole time. Other than that, I have no idea. Yeah, we'll have a sort of our own. Like I said, I watched a few YouTube videos. It is all entertainment, I guess, and hopefully, based off that, we'll have a rough idea of where we are. I've got a funny feeling my little Fly Live map has frozen. Yeah, so Fly Live sometimes it's still in sort of beta with Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm just going to close the app. It stopped updating, I've just realised, and I'll turn it off, reload it. Usually you have to reload it at least once for it to update correctly in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It looks like information frozen anyway. But it seems to work flawlessly in X11 using the plug-in there. Let's try again. That's better. Now it actually shows the correct information. Yeah, look at our ground speed. Oh god, actually that's a point. What's our airspeed right now? Look, there you go. Look, not been paying attention. because we had that overspeed now. I'm going way too slow. Ground speed 290 knots. Let's go back to Mach decimal 7.5. Full climb D10. Nothing to see. Move along. Evan, yeah, that's true. There's definitely special authorised plates. Yes, and unfortunately, none that I can find. So I'll definitely have to sort of wing it, I guess. We'll see what we can do. Now that does look really realistic. These clouds here, you're flying over a nice area, clear skies, and into overcast conditions. Looks really nice. Hello James L. Is this a beta for the default plane or an add-on? It's yeah, modification of the default CJ4 Citation, the same way the the fly-by-wire team and the Zebo mod works. All you have to do is drop that
50,
into the
40,
community folder.
30, 20.
Thanks a lot to PTS for the £5 donation.
Cheers, Captain. Early start in the morning. Catch the rest of the stream tomorrow.
Thank you.
Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, everyone.
Thank you very much, PTS, for popping in regardless, though. And I hope you have a nice sleep. And sorry I have to get up so early in the morning. And thank you very much. Yes, you're quite right. Don't forget to thumbs up the video to fly into Aspen today. Appreciate it, Pete. Thank you. Simon Taylor, are you using Llama International Airlines SOPs today? Yes, we'll be enforcing some less stringent requirements for the stabilised approach criteria. Sebastian Rodin, where can I get the CJ4 PDF? Check out their Discord. All their manuals are there. Working at title. James, oh cool, thanks. Had a lot of issues with the default, especially fuel usage. I wouldn't really base any accurate data off the default aircraft, anything bigger than a Cessna 150 in any desktop simulator. Talking about accurate fuel burn. Let's test it. Golf Lima Delta's coming up, 18 miles away. And let's bring up the checklist here. There is the said manual we were talking about here, but we also have the flight plan. Excuse me. So approaching Golf Lima Delta. We should be doing decimal 7.5, but we have slowed down here. We are speeding back up again. I just need to remember to reduce thrust there. Airborne now for 1 hour 3 minutes. And at Golf Lima Delta, should have been there after 1 hour 9 minutes, so about 6 minutes behind schedule. I think that's the fact that we weren't doing 7.5 and climbing at this speed. We're climbing a little bit slower. Fuel-wise, at Golf Lima Delta, we should have 806 kilos. We have 1,400. Remember, we took an extra 500 kilos. So that would suggest we have 900. This is 806. So, slight discrepancy. It could be for several reasons. Fuel burn at this stage, 689 kilos. Let's have a look here. Now, where was that information there? Fuel management. Next page. There we are. So total 457, and we should have burned 680. No, oh no, 616 is the total fuel burned, and at Golf Lima Delta we would have burned 689. So this would suggest we're perhaps burning a little less fuel than the real aircraft. Now I only say that because the Simbrief flight plans, certainly for the 737, are extremely close to the real-world operating flight plans. I've compared real-world operating flight plans to Simbrief's profile. I've actually looked at one from work and put the same sector information, 0 fuel weight, and the fuel block fuel was within 10 kilos. I couldn't believe how close it was. Just taking a little bit of thrust off here. So yes, maybe being a little bit more efficient than it would be, but I'm only suggesting that. I'm just saying, I'm thinking the climb profile we had was very similar to the flight plan. We've not taken any drastic shortcuts on the SID, so but certainly close enough. Hugo, yeah, tank it. I know. Honestly, the Simbrief flight plans are very, very accurate. I think they just use the same data, performance data. like the winds aloft all coming from the same database if it's a real world flight plan or one generated from SimBrief. How do I zoom out here? Ah, look, there we are. So there's our little top of descent point, look. Just after Foxtrot, Quebec Foxtrot. So not too long to go. Look at that, we're just pushing VMO again. Let's just take a little bit more thrust off. Oh, I do miss having an auto throttle, that's for sure. Oops. Cool. Right on the barber's pole. Edward, you use Jet Planner at work, and I've compared SimBrief with that, and it's very accurate. Yep. Rosie, what did you have for dinner tonight, Captain? Thanks, Rosie. We had stir fry, king prawns, very nice. I finished it 2 minutes before the stream. Braintree, when was 10.1 released? About 10 minutes before the stream started. Everyone's very fascinated by my meals. How is it? Cherons, are you talking about my meal or the CJ4? Both are excellent. In the form of the case of my dinner at work was excellent. Robert, I'll be paying close attention to your approach briefing, as I will be first in, and this is going to be a challenge to say the least, Captain. Best of luck, Robert. Gerald's meant the CJ4. It's brilliant. I really like it. You know, it's the, well, put it this way. I streamed it for the first time 2.5-3 weeks, and I've been looking at sort of opportunities to stream in it again. And it seems like they're very active in making sure that this aircraft is kept up to date. They've got a small but brilliant team. Ollie, were the prawns substantially meaty? They were perfect. Just the right consistency. David Joseph, X-Plane looks better, this looks Photoshop. Yeah, we were discussing earlier, I think the textures for the scenery aren't quite as crisp as a high, say, zoom level, or even zoom level 15-16 with the Bing maps looks okay. But I think close to the ground, Microsoft Flight Simulator does win, and these settings are on high end. Oh, well, would you look at that? We've been flying just above MMO for a short while, ladies and gentlemen. Move along. So again, if you have an MMO exceedance in the cruise, partial speed brake extension. Don't want to take too much thrust off because the engines can take some time to spool up. It's just getting the N1 to a nice setting there. So what's our ground speed? Well, if the wind doesn't change and I'm outside, just have to bear in mind that MMO is around 343 knots ground speed with a 99 knot headwind here. God, what a headwind as well. Seven pilot snooze went off again. List of minutes, nothing to see, Your Majesty. Yes. What is that noise? Philippe, I'm looking for this version 0.10.1 to update mine, but I'm not finding it. Could you help me or anyone? Is it not? I just looked in the GitHub and it had now 0.10.1, but it's certainly linked in their Discord. Jason Dictor, are you applying the visual approach? Yes, planning on doing that today. Robert, it's a trap. Great quick Star Wars there. Ollie, they should make warnings audible when in external view. Well, I mean, it's sort of realistic, I suppose. Acre, you're approaching top percent in the A320. Yeah, that's brave taking that aircraft into Aspen. Warhogs, any ideas for the next group flight? Yes, 2 weeks. We'll start discussing it next week, where we need to go, where we'll go, but that'll be the 14th members group flight coming up. Make sure we have a popular route for us all to fly. So again, I've just got to keep fine-tuning this N1 just to keep speed stable. You can see the indicator there, speed slowly dropping off again. Let's try about 90% N1 here. 89.9. Ooh, it's a bit sensitive. There's 90%, and the speed is sort of stagnant. There we are. Right, anyway, look, 100 miles from top of descent. I think now is a good time to start briefing the approach. So let's get ourselves in a nice little briefing view here. There we are. Let's fire up the charts. There we are. Perfect. So, here is Aspen. Let's just go back to the chart view. So, here we go. Stars. None available. There's no instrument approaches. Sorry, no stars onto an instrument approach anywhere here. So we only can rely on approach charts. There are 3 available. There is this one, which is what we've kind of basing the initial part of this approach off, but this approach, as we mentioned several times, leaves the aircraft extremely high. You are not going to get off, you're not going to be able to fly this approach from 11,700 feet on the final approach fix in a 737 and A320. It is impossible, too high. More than twice the height it would be conventionally here. I mean, it's balmy. So what I've noticed is a lot of airlines that fly into here, looking on a few videos online, they either have their own airline-specific instrument approach chart which has slightly lower altitudes, or I see a lot of guys are requesting this, a Roaring Fork visual approach. Now, visual approaches aren't usually charted. They're you fly your own way in sight with the terrain, but some challenging visual approaches are charted to provide some additional guidance for pilots. And this is the plan. I'm going to we're going to try and keep above terrain, respect MSAs, and we're coming in from the east here. The highest MSA is 15,700. Now, once I'm within 25 miles of this, we're going to be completely visual today. I'll step down to 13,400 to be level overhead red table VOR. Now, I think that constraint, is that the one I put in the FMS? Yes, it was. So look, the VNAV is basing us getting at 13,400 feet over red table, and this is still incredibly high. Put it this way, I mean, Jagger's on a 13-mile final, plus 3 miles. So that's, red table's around a 16-mile final, or 16 miles to run, okay. Now, ideally, on a normal approach, we want to be at around 5,000 feet at this point, okay. 5,000 feet AGL. This charted altitude of 13,400, or 13,400 minus the elevation, which is 7,800, is 5,600. So it's not too far off, actually. I thought it'd be a lot higher above AGL, but it's going to still leave you around 1,000 feet high. And as soon as I get to red table, or approaching red table, we'll hopefully start seeing the runway, and we'll be with ATC. And I'm going to request with Aspen Tower, okay, Alpaca 3x3 Mike, visual with the runway, request the Roaring Fork visual approach runway 15. And once you've accepted a visual approach, ATC is no longer going to ensure you have minimum descent altitudes. The pilot in command is fully responsible for terrain clearance, and you can see there they have just no charted altitudes. It's not an instrument approach, it's a visual approach. So they just give you some recommended heights. So we'll be overhead red table, we'll be visual, and it just gives you a little bit of an arrow here. And what I'm going to do is descend, and there's this high terrain on the extended centre line for runway 15 here. And look at that, the top's up at 9,400. What I'm going to do is descend to just be around 800 to 1,000 feet above this, and that's going to still leave us incredibly high. And as soon as we're there, I'm going to be already probably gear down flaps. I think it's 15 for the first flap setting. I'm going to go, once we pass this crest here, get it all out, full flaps, gear down, bit of speed brake as well, which I think is what they need to use in the BizJets here to get back onto the approach here. And that's it. So it says when visual approaches to runway 15 are in progress, clearances will be given in part using the following phraseology. So Tower will say cleared for a Roaring Fork visual approach to runway 15, essentially route to final as you wish, and they have some recommended altitudes and tracks for you to fly. Radar is required, so ATC, despite the fact that they're not going to be maintaining kind of minimum altitude clearances there, I did read that they do need to have you on radar for you to fly this approach. Not authorised at night for obvious reasons. Vertical guidance, aid and angle runway on the Pappies. The Pappies are 3.5 degrees, a little bit steeper than standard. Still, obviously, not as steep as the instrument charted approach, which is 6.5 degrees. But yes, the Pappies are steeper. To maintain that kind of Pappy, you'll need to be doing 1,000 feet per minute, around 150 knots. Cold temperature restricted airports, so there are temperature corrections you need to make when the temperature falls below even 10 degrees Celsius. And this is referenced to height above the airport, so not the actual altitude, but above the elevation. And you need to add these heights to all the charted altitudes, or any charted altitude below the MSA, to ensure that you are above the ground. Now, I did ask this question once in a stream recently. I don't think anyone could answer it, but I don't know if Microsoft Flight Simulator are modelling temperature error or altimetry error in from a barometric altimeter from cold temperature, and conversely hot temperatures leave you high. So that's it. Now, great time to fly into this airport. Jeppesen have just recently released these additional briefing charts at airports which are a little bit more complex. So these are straight from the real Jeppesen chart database. Now, my airline, we have a separate documentation. It's an in-house performance department made documentation where we have pretty much all this information. If it's a tricky approach, they will provide photos, additional guidance such as where to configure, select vertical speed here, be gear down at this DME distance. So yeah, it's really useful. It gives you a nice overview of what to do. So additional information, airport qualification, mountainous terrain in the immediate vicinity, high climb gradient performance requirements for all the grades, so missed go around landing, high altitude airport. And I should think it's KASE. You need to have specific training in the simulator, or at least a practice sector with a qualified pilot to fly into this airport. Again, highlighting the MSA, obviously very high terrain around here. Additional information regarding weather, so caution wind shear, moderate turbulence may be encountered with strong westerly winds. Today, the latest weather conditions are showing, I think, southeasterly winds, and again, very light, so I'm just getting an update on the METAR here. So latest wind, 330 at 6, so it is actually from the northwest now, so a bit of a tailwind, but there's no approaches onto runway 33, so we'll take the tailwind. It won't help us, but it is clear skies, 8 degrees, 3013 for the weather there. Birds, wildlife, can't circle if you're in a Cat D aircraft, which would be foolish. Talks about rain, snowfall, additional information like that. And again, here's the picture of runway 15, so again highlighting the information here. There's no straight in instrument approaches to the runway. Visual vertical guidance is provided by a Pappy at 3.5 degrees on the left. The Pappy is unusable beyond 4 miles from the approach and beyond 7 degrees right of runway centerline. If you want to take off from runway 15, you need to have additional permission, and this runway has a display threshold resulting in a usable landing length of 7,000 feet. It does provide information for runway 33. There's no approaches charted for that, but you could fly a circle or a traffic pattern onto runway 33. So yeah, very brief. Again, if my operator was flying here, we'd probably have a 30-page document explaining all the situations, what to do if the engine failed, at minimums, the bonked landing procedure, so you have to go around after rejected landing. It's all that information available. So we're going to be flying this with the weather forecast today. I mean, you can hopefully just look out the window here. Look at that. Absolutely perfect weather conditions. In fact, you can see the mountain range in the distance, so there's no way we're not flying the Roaring Fork visual. Absolutely not. What a fantastic... Oh, look at the speed again. All over the place. Let's go back to 92. 93, there we are. So yeah, to brief it again then, what I'm going to do now is tune the red table VOR initially, so that's going to be 13.0. So nav 13.0. like we've already picked it up. Look, that's the Delta Bravo Lima, the red table VOR. It's already identified with the VOR pointing in that direction. Sorry, the RMI pointing in that direction. So that's great. When we get a bit closer, although we're not flying the localizer approach here, there is some guidance. So there is a localizer available on the extended center line. So I think when we get a bit closer, I'll switch over to 11115, and that will, that'll be able to give us some localizer information at least, even though we're not going to be flying the charted information. We're sort of going to fly that. Remember that roaring visual? It kind of goes whoosh, like this, and then intercepts the localizer. And we'll do sort of the same. We'll go over here. Then we can obviously go as low as we want to, which is a visual approach, so we don't have to just kind of go down to these charted altitudes. Now, at my operator, they do actually say when you fly visual approaches, recommend that you follow all the charted altitudes. But as we discussed, this leaves you twice as high as a conventional approach, so we're going to be flying this completely visual. Yeah, that's it. We'll configure gear down flat 15, approaching red table or just after, and we'll press the approach. And then landing performance then. Not the longest, 8,006 feet. Oh, what's that in proper numbers? I need my converter. It's, yeah, that many feet. Long enough. And we'll plan to vacate at Alpha 5, the kind of first 45-degree intersect there. And very short taxi onto the terminal. Again, that's highlighting the generalised information about opening times, noise abatement. There again, you can see the PAPI height angle, PAPI angle at 3.5 degrees highlighted there. So there we are. That's the approach we're going to fly. Courses, you can set them. I'll set the course now for the runway QDM, which is 151, and otherwise, that's it. Just need to set up the FMS and do a little bit of performance calculations for the landing flap. So course. Where's that? Now I believe the course, when you tune a localizer or an ILS, it automatically, I can't change it anyway, it automatically updates their front course anyway. Thanks guys, 2,400 metres, brilliant. Long enough. Just taking a little bit of thrust off again here. So landing performance is the only thing we have left to do in the FMS here. So if we go to departure arrival, no performance, sorry. VNAV setup, we've already discussed. Look, we've got our top of descent point. We'll use VNAV initially, 56 miles till top of descent. 149 miles to go as well. Phoenix 100 miles out descent time. Don't forget, we've got to take into account, I guess VNAV is here, a 90 knot headwind. That's going to probably delay our descent, or want to delay our descent by around 10 miles with that headwind. They're fine. 54 miles to go. Approach. So I'll just punch in the information from the METAR. Again, it's not been updated for a while, but 330 at 6 was the last reported wind. No doubt Microsoft Flight Simulator will give me something completely different. Temperature is 8 degrees. QNH is 3013, so that's 1020. Lovely. It's going to be dry. Next page, I isolate it off, and we'll use these V-speeds then. The approach 114, 107, send, and those will be plugged into the FMS. Complete. Minimums then, visual approach, there's no minimums to set, so I'm not going to bother when flying a visual approach. Again, at my operator, we'd set the elevation plus 500 feet, so I could do that, I guess. So what is the elevation here? 7,838 feet. 7,838 plus 500 is going to be 8,338. So it's not so much the minimums respect that height, got to be visual, it's to be fully stabilised at this point. This is the stabilised approach criteria. Now again, we use the minimums. I think we go here. How do I set this there? So I think it's refs. There we are. So if these speeds are set, then we'll set the barrow. Now, is that barrow? Is that AGL or no? It's got to be on the altimeter shortly. That's going to take ages to set, isn't it? 8,338. Oh, there we go. It's going quick now. So again, remember that's not minimums. It's just going to give us a nice call out to make sure we're fully stabilised. 500 feet AGL 8338. So it's at 8340. Perfect. There we are. You can push the refs menu directly. Is there a refs button on here? Thank you. Appreciate that. Above sea level. Thanks, Hafnal. And thanks, Philippe. Mark, tip 1, slow to 250 knots by 13 DME. Yes, I've been told to get it all dirty by Red Table, otherwise you won't get down. We'll make sure that's the case. So still on VATSIM, no ATC yet, but it does look like we've got Aspen ground at least. I think Aspen Tower online as well. Oh, there's actually a bit of air traffic around Aspen, which is quite cool. Just ground for now. But no, a bit of traffic around Denver. Cool. There is Denver. I don't know if anyone here is from Denver, but I hope you're having a beautiful afternoon, like we can see in the game. Superb. I think forgetting I can assign all my buttons here. Perfect. And we're directly overhead. What's the Foxtrot, Quebec Foxtrot? That is the Falcon VOR. What an awesome name for a VOR, Falcon. Aviation Geek 998J, you're from Denver. How's the weather there? Hopefully just as nice as we can see in here. Oh, Captain, I don't think you may borrow the active. I think so though. Look, Commander Jenna Hofen. Look, min 8340 Barrow. It's here on the display. Mark, tip 2. Plan the sensor the flight speed at 15, landing gear down, a beam. Delta Bravo Lima VOR. Tip 3, fully configured by 10 miles. India Alpha Sierra Echo localizer. Thank you. Well, hopefully it won't get established on the localizer, but yes, I think you need to get it fully configured by. What's the VOR? Red Table VOR, Delta Bravo Lima, because again, you've got to be at or above 13,400 before Jargu, and that leaves you twice as high. Aviation Geek, clear skies, snowed yesterday. Perfect. Petty, you've just got your 100th hour in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Congratulations. Taylor, are we doing ILS or visual? Visual today. And approaching top of descent imminently. $23 miles to run. Which one's the zoom again? It's very fiddly having to do it. There we are. Love that match heading button. Bloodline landing with our eyes closed. I'll have my eyes closed as well. Wicked. Yes, of course, the foothills of the Rockies, isn't it? Yeah, they are. I mean, yeah, we're in Colorado now, aren't we? Breeny, I wonder if you love scuba diving. I have never been, Breeny. Oh, look, there's Dallas, Denver International Airport. Never been scuba diving. I think I'm quite a confident swimmer, no problem swimming underwater, but I do have a sort of, I wouldn't say a fear, but the idea of going underwater and not being able to go up quickly, because I know you can get the bends and all this, I think that's what really put me off, because I very nearly started doing it when I lived in Spain. Obviously, you've got to take into account when you're flying as well. There's a minimum amount of time between scuba diving and flying. But yeah, I never got around to doing it, but I'd love to have a go. Great Scott, need to set your descent altitude below 43,000 or VNAV won't descend. Yeah, absolutely same as the 737 as well. Still 12 miles to go. So yeah, in hindsight, you're right. I should set it lower. But usually around 5-10 miles away, we'd request descent with ATC. So what I'll do, there is no ATC at this stage. So let's just set flight level 200 initially. And then we'll step down to the MSA thereafter. And we're now inbound to Delta Bravo Lima. VOR. Perfect. And then as we descend, I'll slightly reduce thrust to idle, and we'll be on our way. That's an airport we've not flown to in X-Plane, in the Zemo mod. Huge. Yes, the textures are somewhat, I mean, yeah, I wish they were a little bit higher detailed in the cruise here. Just a bit high texture quality. It looks okay from that zoom level, but any closer in, not quite so nice. Right. Top of says in chat then. We have 4 miles to go, and I think you just you'll see the profile come in, and this is your target descent, rate of descent, I believe. Oh, having a little wiggle. Two miles to go. There it goes. There's your profile. Top of the drops. You've got to list them in. Just don't zoom in, says Chris. Sweet. Look at a little blinking top of descent here. And down she goes. Seems to be working okay. And I'll slowly reduce that and thrust to idle. There we are. There's idle thrust. Rockies. Awesome. Guys, if you've just tuned in, welcome to the live stream. We've just started our descent into Aspen, one of the most challenging approaches in the United States, and the excellent working title CJ4 Cessna Citation. Completely free to download. Go check out their Discord. All the information you need is there. It is a worthwhile improvement to the default Cessna Citation. Don't forget to smash the thumbs up button as well. Thanks, Nightbot. Look at Nightbot. Nightbot on my side today. Excellent. So just keep an eye on the speed. Now, I think because of that strong headwind, the speed's dropping off a little bit. I don't know if that their VNAV has calculated or compensated for the headwind there, 70 knots, which is probably why the speed's dropping off slightly, because it's a kind of a... I think this VNAV is based off a fixed rate of descent as opposed to a fixed path. Not sure, but the speed you see is dropping off. That is because of the headwind. In reality, on the 7.3 with a strong headwind, the top of descent point is delayed because you can have a slightly you can travel less distance, as it was, or because of the headwind component pushing you there, and that results in you still flying the same target speed here. I don't think the VNAV here is based off a target speed here. I think you just add thrust as required. But if I maintain around 220-ish knots, I'm just going to have a bit of thrust here. It'll be quite nice. Mark, tip 4. I think I missed tip 3, but descent rates between 1,200 and 2,500 feet will be required to meet each step down fix depending on landing weights and winds. Whee! Yeah, I saw, Mark. Yeah, it's not your atypical approach. Basically, with my operator's stabilised approach criteria and required rates of descent, you could be able to fly this approach. Certainly not within the rules. You need some special Special guidance. Now that does look quite nice with the Rockies here. Microsoft Flight Simulator looks better the closer you are to the ground. Kevin, greetings from Germany. Good even to you. Playing the CJ4 does not calculate idle descent. There you go. Well, in that case, it is realistically simulated. So it just basically it's a fixed angle, and then you can just add thrust or drag as required to maintain a desired airspeed. It's having a right old rough time trying to stay tuned on that VOR. It could be due to the terrain, to be fair. Yeah, that's a little bit easier to manage then, and just add thrust as required. But the 737 is a little bit more complex in its VNAV path calculation. Matt, the VNAV on the PL21 is not performance based, just a set of fixed descent angle segments, so you probably won't be able to go idle. So that's cool, really interesting. Idle descent in such a small plane is really, really fast. Very good. So I guess it's an angle which means in kind of still wing conditions it'll sort of roughly maintain its speed with idle thrust, I guess, instead of the 737. It's very clever. It'll calculate a path to fly with the thrust at idle to maintain a target speed as well, based on those conditions. It is reasonably accurate. Now some days it's a little bit off because we're using estimated weights, for example, for all the passengers. We'll presume they're 84 kilos, for example, but usually the aircraft's a lot lighter, so it doesn't always match. But it is very close. But yeah, I think 7.5 has a similar descent system. I think someone was telling me, but the 7.3 is a little bit more accurate, perhaps, or a little bit more efficient, perhaps. But again, you're only burning how many kilos per hour of fuel? 500 kilos an hour. Chris 120, I'm just wondering if your flight training was modular or integrated. I went integrated back in 2010, beginning of 2010. Mark tip 3, fully configured by 11-DME. Well, I'm going to be flying the visual approach, so I won't be fully on the DME distance, but I'll keep that chart up in the background. But yes, I know when you'll see, guys, when I turn final, how high we're going to be. Very high. Still only got Aspen ground online, unfortunately, no tower. So far, so good. There's 35,000 feet. That's looking nice. Map basically gets somewhere between 1 and 6 degrees descent angle, depending on the restrictions, with a bias towards the selected flight path angle, which defaults to 3 degrees. Very interesting, that. But the fact that you have a system that implements the VNAV works well. Justin, I think you are a CJ4 guy. The real airplane has VNAV window. You can turn on the MFD that shows how many miles a minute stop and descent, as well as the required vertical speed. Would be a nice addition. Cool. Yeah, if you're a BizJet pilot here, please don't judge me. I don't fly this aircraft. But you're not on tough ground. You can sometimes be. Joe Drage, behave yourself. Unbelievable. Bert Fella, what's the difference out of modular or integrated out of interest? Is there a bit by bit? Yes, all in. Not sure that last bit, fella, but an integrated course is sort of a course throughout start to finish with in about one and a half years, with no kind of gap in between. It's like you do your ground school over 6 months, straight into your initial flight training, up to your CPL, straight into your instrument rating, then your MCC and JOC. Which will get you to the point of what you call a frozen ATPL or a CPL IR, enough to get you on a right-hand seat. Now, in the US, those guys need 1,500 hours. In Europe, it's nowhere near that amount. Modular is the same, but you do it at your own pace, so you can self-study at home. You can go in and take the exams when you wish. You can then do the flight training over a short or long period as you require. It's cheaper, and by far today, I wish I had gone modular, because I would have saved myself, or I wouldn't have had to have taken quite as big a loan out. for flight training. I'm sorry, but that sun reflection, amazing. Really nice in the sim. Just getting the... that's super cool how that's modelled. It's exactly what would happen. Amazing. Yes, I know it's not just a visual sim, but it's very cool to see that sun reflection is modelled like that. Yeah, so that's the way I'd recommend doing it. It's cheaper, do it at your own pace. The airlines now really don't have a preference over integrated as they did in the past. They just look at the guys with their license and what experience they have. Oh, Ben, sorry, you have an 18-month limit with modular. Oh, really? Yeah, I think if you... I don't know the figures off my head, but if you have taken the exams, you have to have done something within a period of time before you'd have to do them again. I don't know any of those rules. Ollie, it's going to get bumpy over the mountains. Good luck. Oh, yes, I mean, with that wind, I get a little bit of mountain wave here. Oh, yes, look at that rate of descent change. Anyway, making good progress. Looks like we're going to be hitting flight level 200 way before Delta Bravo Lima, around 20 miles before. We'll step down next altitude to the MSA for that sector, 15,700, but then we'll go down to 13,400, which is the minimum altitude from Red Table to Jargu. Chris, move it's around a year or two. Limit for completing the multi-engine IR and CPL after 80 PLs. Very good. Yeah, I can't remember any of that. Now Microsoft Flight Simulator comes into its own. That looks really nice. So when you get a little bit higher, the texture's going a little blurry. But that looks absolutely stunning. Reflection from the lakes on the sun. Superb. Ben, hope you're doing well. After taking ACPL exams, you've got 3 years to get a CPL IR if you go modular. That's quite a long time. Very good. Breckenridge Ski Resort at 11 o'clock. Now, I don't know much about Aspen, but I understand it's very much the affluent and well-off that... well, I looked at some of the videos early online at Aspen. There seems to be an awful lot of business jets parked there. It does seem like a very nice area to ski, but obviously a huge amount of ski resorts around here. Oh, you can actually see some... I guess they are little ski runs there. Might even have a little bit of snow around Aspen. What a beautiful time to fly the approach, though. Breckenridge Ski Resort then isn't much cheaper. I haven't been skiing now. Last time I went skiing, sounds funny, it was in Spain. Sierra Nevada, near Malaga, not too far from Malaga. Fantastic skiing there. Not as many runs as the Alps, of course, but you can have a good weekend of skiing there. I went a couple of times when I lived up in Alicante. Wow, beautiful. Right. No trouble. What do you want? You got it working? Oh, very cool. You spoke to it? You joking? Unbelievable. No, you're joking. It's not voice control. We got a new fireplace installed in our house today. And Marion's been trying to pull my leg. Can you leave the light on, please? Can you turn the light on? Turn it on. Marion just turned the light off. Left me in the dark. Marion bought a new fireplace. We've got a new fireplace. Oh look, here's Microsoft Flight Simulator's infamous stalagmites. Great. Yes, we put a new fireplace, and Barry's been pulling my leg all afternoon, saying that it's voice controlled. So basically, 15 minutes ago, I tried to turn it on by saying, "Turn on." She's pulling my leg. I am gullible. There we are. Right, anyway, as I was saying, down to 200, which was a randomly assigned altitude by myself. Let's show you the charts again. Let's go down now safely to the MSA, 15,700. Oh, look, here they come again. What's going on with these stalagmites? I noticed the test sector, they're everywhere, especially in the Rockies. I'm quite sure these features are not there in real life. distracted here. 15,700 feet. And we'll set that local pressure setting for Aspen, which is 3012. Let's try the old faithful B. No, because we're still above 2992. To be fair, we should wait till the transition level. But my operator will be setting it now, so I want to do that. Oh my! Ooh, that's changed the path as it would. Very good. We'll quickly set the pressure in. Now that's really good. The guys here have modelled the fact that we had you program in the pressure setting, and it'll take that into account with your altitude restrictions. Very cool. Oh yeah, so 3012 sets, 22,800, 15,700 feet, and standby is now set as well. Perfect. Phoenix just landed at Aspen. Nice weather for the visual. Visual, very good. Ollie, you must wait until 18,000 feet. Why is that, Ollie? Oh yes, of course, United States. My operator, as soon as we clear to an altitude, we immediately set to the QNH. But then again, we don't have a transition altitude at 18,000 feet. Oh, look at these features. UFOs or aliens, look. Confirmed. Yes, they do seem to be appearing a bit more frequently in the sim. But yes, lovely. The VNAV system seems to be working very nicely. Let's just I'm trying to zoom in. That's better. So again, unfortunately, oh, I was about to say, is there no tower? But there could be a tower here. Aspen approach. Please contact me on 199998. I think that's broken. Could you confirm, Freak? It says 199.998. Maybe it's on the chart. The actual approach on the chart is 123.8. He's not primed his frequency. What does that mean? Oh, it is 123.8. I just signed on. Oh, okay. Alright, I've tuned it on my radio tuning panel. I just want to make sure it's there. 123.85. Why did it do that? There we are. Right, let's turn the music off now. It's going to get busy. I've got to concentrate. Messages galore. Aspen approach, hello. Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike, descending altitude 15,700, 3012 inbound to red table.
Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike, Aspen approach, squawk 2713.
Squawk 2713, Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike. 2713. There we are.
Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike, Aspen approach, radar contact 17,800, 6 miles northeast of the red table VOR, Aspen altimeter 3012. Proceed direct red table, descending maintain 14,000, expect visual approach, runway 15.
Continue to red table, descend 14,000, expect visual approach 15, Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike. So clear to 14,000, just going to bring a little bit of idle thrust here, just keep that speed back, because I don't want to get too high on speed. A little bit of turbulence as well. Very exciting. Fantastic, we've got some ATC as well. I got a message from someone else reminding me of the frequency. Yeah, let's just do a little bit of speed brake here. Get that speed back to... I don't want to be going too fast because we're going to end up very high. VNAV's done a superb job, really it has. And
Aspen approach Alpaca
Aspen will be
3
in there.
inbound visual runway 15 at Aspen.
And 320 November, contact Aspen Tower on 1. Oops, stand by.
What's it?
And 320 November, wind 17010, gust 19, runway 15, clear to line.
I just realised Tower's not online.
Clear runway 15, Alpaca.
This guy is doing OT. Oh, now am I meant to be at flat 15 now, or can I go below the 200 knots here with this speed? I guess I can easily fly down to what, 180 flaps up. I don't know. I don't know if this is like the clean speed. If I should be at flat 15 now. So I think 14,000 is as low as we can go. This is minimum radar altitude. Again, I'll flash up that chart so you can see here. So you can see, look, inbound here at the radar minimum altitude. I don't know what it is here, but that's where we're routing to, and hopefully after this we'll fly the visual approach. Need to be inside the runway first, but I believe if I...
Alpaca 3 X-ray,
There it is.
reduce speed 210.
210 knots, Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike. So we'll just speed up a little bit here.
Altitude.
Checked. Just want to go. There's the runway, so we can fly the visual. So we'll report runway in sight at Delta Bravo Lima. Oh, there's the zoom button here. Should turn everything on now. Lights as well. Lights. Fuel. We've got over a ton, so that's plenty for our alternate. And that's set. And we're levelling off here at 14,000. Good job, VNAV. Fantastic. To the mountains, though, the MSA. As long as we know it. Right, it's just maintaining 210.
Alpaca 320 November, welcome to Aspen, left when able, ground 123 point. Stand by.
23. 1219er, I think. There we are, so levelling off.
121.9.
121.9, Alpaca.
Going to get a bit high here, but we'll report visual. Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike, overhead red table, visual, request roaring fort visual approach.
Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike, turn left heading 180, field will be at your 11 o'clock, 14 miles, report to field.
Field in sight, Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike. So just gone heading select.
And 3 X-ray Mike, cleared visual approach runway 15.
Cleared visual approach runway 15, Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike. So we're going to go straight away flat 15 here. Just to kind of show you, he's given us a nice little initial heading here, but the runway is just there. Look, so I actually need to now start descending. So we're cleared visual, so excuse me here, so I need to turn off VNAV, heading, flight directors I think, and then autopilot.
Autopilot.
Get rid of the flight directors. I need to start going down now, so I'm actually going to drop the gear. And make a little left turn. And remember, this is great now because we don't need to fly the charted altitude, so I just want to get rid of the flight directors, though. That's the only thing. So, roll.
Aspen approach, subset make all Tango, holding short 3.
There we are. Flight directors are off. So we need to be below 160 to select landing flap, which I'm going to select now as well.
Wind
I'm in a good position here.
Gust 19, runway 33, clear for takeoff. Caution,
missed approach altitude, let's set... Well, there is no missed approach, it's a visual approach, so I'll leave it at 14,000. There we are. So we're having to descend around 2,500 feet per minute to capture this profile here. Now, if we were flying the localizer approach now, we're bang on the extended sense line. I don't have the localizer tuned here, though. We'd be approaching 9 miles. We'd still have to be at 12,300 feet level at this point. I'm going to try if I can.
Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike, wind 17010, gust 19, runway 15, clear to land. Opposite departing traffic, runway 15.
Runway 15, clear to land, Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike. Now, I saw a really cool video online today where basically they had someone on the approach here, but they still use the runway for departure and they make an immediate right turn. That's pretty sketchy, but pretty cool. Right, I'm going to try and tune the other frequency here for the localizer 11115. I'm sort of looking at the instruments here as well.
Does it make off Tango altitude?
There we are. There we are. So that's tuned. So we should get DME distance. There we are. So that's DME
Takeoff, Tango,
here.
altitude.
And you
We're
can see,
fleeting
look,
takeoff
I'm pretty
300
much
free, Golf
descending
Tango.
as steep as I can. If I had
Takeoff,
descended any
Tango,
sooner, we
radar
would never have made it.
contact,
I'm only just about holding 130 knots here.
16,000, Golf Tango.
And you don't want to be any lower than this. So there's the DME associated with the instrument approach, 7 miles. At this point here, 7.1 at Doip, I'd have to be at 11,700 feet still. Look at that, I'm still at 10,100 feet. So it just shows you, you know, how I'm still really high, but if I was actually flying the instrument approach, I'd still be 2,000 feet above this height. It's crazy. Now I'm just going to use a little bit of speed brake here just to help slow us down. Sorry for disorientating all with the views here. I'm using speed brake now. No, I'm not. Now why is that speed brake not coming out? There it is. So it's still a bit high. Remember the pappies are a little bit steeper than usual as well. Runway's covered in snow. There we go. There we are. We're on profile now. 2 whites, 2 reds. So I can get rid of that speed brake. 3.5 degrees, maybe around 900 feet per minute. And we just need to get that speed back in control now. Ignore the glide slope here. Remember, there's no ILS here. That's just based off your basic VNAV profile. And we're fully stabilised. The speed's a little bit high here, about 10 knots too fast. Bit zoomed in on this view, I know. Oh god, why is that so sensitive? I can't. I miss X-Plane 11's views. It's just a bit pants here. Right, 3 reds. Now there's the minimums point I set. Remember, that's just the point based off my operator's SOP in which we need to be fully stabilised. Very hard to see the pappies here. But I'm 2 whites, I think. Or was that 3 reds? Very hard to see. I can see some whites and some red. There we are. I think we're bang on.
Minimum.
So continue. That's just a stabilised approach point. Prepare for stalagmites. I know. Ooh, a bit low. 4 reds. Is that no? 3 reds just came in there very briefly. Just can't quite get my view in a nice position. Now I can't see my speed. There we are. So we've got a tad lower there at one point. There we are. I can now get re-established on that profile. I'm still trimming here. There's one stalagmite. Speed's bang on, and that's what 3.5 degrees looks like. That's quite realistic.
500.
Pappies must be accurately modelled as well to 3.5, because it does look definitely steeper than the 3. I think the runway's not 45 metres wide as well. I think it's a little bit narrow, which gives you an impression of it being even higher. 3 reds, stalagmites galore. Should we go caving afterwards, guys? Oh my god, my speed! Yeah, way below VRF there. Yeah, that a little bit destabilised, never mind. Well, runway's got a little bit of light snow on it. There we go. Check, close, just hold that attitude. Oh my god, really floaty. There we are, we're down. Speed brakes out, no reverses.
78 Golf Tango, centers offline, radar services terminated.
And we've made it.
Exchange approved, have a good flight.
Braking performance is still pretty good, even though it's covered in light snow. There we are. Put your neck brace on. Unbelievable. That was a wicked approach. Happened very quickly, though. Yeah, a little bit low on the speed there at the last.
And Alpaca 3
500
X-ray
feet.
Mike, welcome to Aspen, left when able, ground 121.9.
Left when able, ground 1219. Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike makes the ATC survey.
Yes, sir, and Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike, how do you copy my transmission? Am I coming in very quiet or my 5x5?
5x5, absolutely perfect.
Thank you, sir.
Perfect. Excellent, guys. Welcome to Aspen. Excellent. Aspen ground, hello. Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike, just figured runway 15 at Alpha 4.
Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike, test you to the ramp via Alpha, g'day.
Ramp via Alpha, Alpaca 3 X-ray Mike, bye. Perfect. Now, which way is that? Let's go next to some of these other jets. I want to go where everyone else would be parking. Or maybe to the right. Yes, maybe to the right here where there's someone else online. Superb! Guys, I hope you enjoyed that flight to Aspen. That approach was very busy. Sort of happy with how it went. The visual there, you saw how those guys were right in chat with those steps. You know, if you don't get yourself configured, gear flaps out, it's impossible to make this approach. How they make it off the instrument approach to DME, I beg his belief, because I was having a look at the instrument approach on the side, and to clear over that ridge safely, I was what was it? I was 1,000 feet below the charted altitude. There's no way you're going to get in off any of those approaches. I don't understand how they do it. Very interesting, anyway. Superb. Let's now start some lovely taxiing music. There we are. And all the alerts back on. Oh, look. Where would you like to go, Your Majesty? We'll park right outside the terminal. So this is one of the detailed Microsoft Flight Simulator airports. We'll go for stand 4 here. So I don't know if it comes in the standard version or the deluxe version. I don't know. I just used the one Microsoft Flight Simulator gave me a copy of on, prior to release. Yeah, it's obviously looking very nice. Peter, he can come off. Yes, I've not done anything really with regards to the cleanup. Strobes. Did I turn the strobes off? No, I don't think I did. Let's get parked up and we'll do a little bit of a taxiing flow here. Lovely. Right by the entrance, look, Your Majesty. Superb. There we are. Oops, I didn't even stow the speed brake, look. Right, Jim, get to work. Right, speed brake. We can stow thrusters at idle. No AP fitted to this aircraft, so strobes can come off as well. Transponder, that can go to standby, and we'll put that to 2000. And we then get the ground power connected, which we can do here. We can go to index, page 2, mod, ground power. There we are, and then we should be okay to shut the engines down now. So I think we just simply push this to stop. There they are, they're spooling down. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Ooh, landing lights off as well. Oh my goodness me. I'll get there eventually. Beacon light can come off. Oh my days. Yes, yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, welcome to Aspen. What a lovely flight. I'm so happy we finally made it into here as well. What's the local time here? 15:44 in the afternoon. Lovely. What a fantastic fun flight that was. And I hope I sort of justified the how to fly this approach as well with regards to the visual approach here. I mean, we've got guys here who are familiar. They'll be able to be far better judged at telling me how I did. I'd love to know in the comments section of how you thought I did. But yeah, I mean, we'll flash up the chart here. Unfortunately, there's no replay function, so we can't really step through what we saw. So this is the approach we flew. There's no descent altitudes after red table, cleared visual approach. Just bear in mind the high points there. We cleared these by about, I think it was 1,000 feet or so. And you saw pretty much from where we were at red table, and I started descending when I disconnected. I was idle thrust with gear flap 40 of it, or full flaps eventually. I only added thrust, I think, started adding thrust around 1,500 feet AGL. That's when we started capturing the pappies. We then got nice and stabilised. The only thing was I let speed get a bit low. So yeah, we got below VREF. Don't want to be doing that. So in hindsight, maybe a missed approach would have been the best action. No missed approach off a visual. So probably immediate right turn, get out the valley. And something based off the instrument approach here. As I just mentioned here, to be at 7 DME at 11,700 feet. I mean, what's the elevation here? It's 11,700 minus 7,800. So you have 3,900 feet AGL, and then 7 miles away. And you're gonna, yeah, you're 4,000 feet above the ground, 7 miles away. No wonder it's 6.59 degrees. That's crazy. I'd love to see this approach, actual approach from DOIP being flown to the minimums and then getting in. I don't know how those guys do it. Like 1,800 feet per minute. That was crazy. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyable approach. Go check out the Roaring Fork visual as well. Very enjoyable. The scenery is all here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. And lastly, don't forget to go check out the Citation by Working Title. Fantastic mod. Thank you very much. They've been, I mean, I've not really spoke to them formally, but they saw I was streaming today, and one of the devs got in contact saying, oh, we've noticed an issue straight away with VNAV. We're going to get an update for you prior to the stream to fix those issues as well. I've not really shown you everything this aircraft has as well. There's a lot more stuff in the FMS. There's all sorts of neats and tricks from the real aircraft which I don't know how to implement there. I think when I next fly, I'll just try and fly a normal approach. I'll try and find someone that's really busy, so we can mix it up there and fly an ILS approach and see how it works with all the holds and other features as well. But it won't be too long before I fly again in this fantastic mod. Excellent. Well, guys, that's the end of the stream. As ever, thank you to everyone that turned up and showed their support, to everyone that donated. Very much appreciate the support. Thank you so much to all the members. Thank you for the continued support as well. And yes, we'll be going live on Saturday on Flight Data Sim Gaming. We're going to be doing a race on Assetto Corsa, so go check that out if you are into sort of some gaming and racing. Go check out the other one. I might even stream on Flight Data Sim tomorrow, Friday evening. Just a nice simple set to a Nazebo mod, perhaps in Europe, but I can't promise anything with that one because I'm going to be setting up the race series for us on Saturday. To all the regular viewers and subscribers as well, thank you so much for turning up. Do me a favour, smash the thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with the latest content. Have a splendid evening, and I'll catch up with you all very soon. Bye bye for now.